Where do I begin? Eden is a city of light, brighter than the sun itself, full of grandeur and magic that has changed humans more than one could imagine, allowing human augmentation and artificial life. And where there is light, there is surely shadow. But all is not what it seems here in the last city on Earth. To find the truth, you must take a bite from the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden.
All right, welcome back. That episode was wrong. I didn't have time to change that because, as you can see below me, we had to take some time to add our awesome character art that we now have. So take a good look. It'll be cycling through as the episode continues. And this is all the characters that you've come to learn about, and this is exactly what they look like. So thank you so much to... at the end of it, I'll make sure to give a shout out to the artist. I don't have his name off the top of my head, but the person who did it was an awesome artist, and we really appreciate your work. So, to recap last episode and kind of the episode before that, after the first episode where the kind of an inciting incident occurred, forcing and thrusting these 6 citizens together to be now known as terrorists to the city and to Prometheus, who are labeling them as such. They were looking for a way to remove a augment inside their chest that was acting as tracking device for some of them, or most of them. And upon doing so, they needed to find a place to rest, and were looking for a man who had a place that could block some signals that might be getting sent out to track them down. Along with that, they ended up running into a kid, or a teenager-ish kind of character named Skipper, also known as Sam or Sammy, who led them to Larry, which was the person they were looking for. And they stayed at Larry's place and were able to rest their heads from their long travel, while also getting to learn a little bit more information from Larry after kind of prodding him a little bit, and learned more about the incident at the gala where all of this kind of started. And with that, they learned about the person who was in the mech that Dawn and Eris saw being put in the mech, name being Riker, and that Riker was a part of a group called the Awakening, as far as Larry was concerned. He knew about this and grew up with him, is what he told the group. And afterwards, they left with this new knowledge and kind of understanding of a kind of a resistance group being in place somewhere in the city, and headed towards Chip's home. And when they got very close and were basically arriving, Chip had an interaction with his father, who basically was very upset at the fact that he brought these people there, because he told them at the time. And a mysterious figure, when some others came out and kind of suppressed the party and drugged them back into the base, which they learned his name, the person who was kind of in charge of that group, name was Cypher, which is kind of one of the main entities of underneath Bluprint, which they later learned was Chip's father. And he explained to Varia and a couple others that he is a notorious hacker in the city who works kind of for himself and for whatever kind of purpose he can make to make money and etc. And it was there that they were forced to kind of prove themselves or die trying to be able to have this possibility of getting an ear and an audience with Bluprint to even kind of ask him if he'd be willing or if there's anything they could do to get the parts they needed to be able to replace their augment that would be tracking them. And when this happened, he asked them to send out a fighter, which Varia was more than happy to step up and fight Cypher. She had a bone to pick with him. But eventually it was kind of a little bit of persuasion in there, and realization on Bluprint's part as well that it might be smart to let them fight in a little bit bigger of a group, and to which two others joined Varia, which were Eris and Scrat, and the three of them took on Cypher, Chip, and one of the other members of Bluprint's little group he has going on. They ended up winning, which was awesome. And whenever that happened, he kind of said that he would let them stay the night and rest their heads, and in the morning he was going to basically give them some more information. However, if they wanted to receive these pieces, these parts they require, he was going to need them to do him a favor because he has lost kind of contact with Prometheus, who is one of his main clients. He explains he needs them to go around the city and find some other organization or group or entity or individual to be able to give him work. He needs more work is kind of what he explains, and if they are able to do that, he is more than willing to kind of help them out in this ordeal. So with that, he gives them a place to stay. He sends them and sends Cypher to show them around for a little bit, and Cypher barely does so. He kind of just explains where stuff is, where their room is, and he also asks Chip to eventually at that night, whenever he's done, come by his office because he needs to speak with him about everything. And that pretty much wraps everything back up to where we are now. So focusing back in, we're going to be going into the group as they are now with Chip entering their room. And their room, as they enter it, has a couple beds. It has a total of 4 beds that are already made and stuff like that, and a bathroom and some connected showers to the other living quarters. As you guys enter your room with all your belongings and hurt from the some of you hurt from this previous battle and whatnot, what do you guys think in entering the room?
Did you say there were 4 beds?
There are 4 beds.
This is probably going to be a problem, you guys.
Well, not for you. Don't you prefer bathrooms?
Yeah, I don't need a bed either. I sleep with Fluffy.
Well, then it sounds like it works out pretty good, and I'll go plop myself down on one of those beds.
I'm gonna turn to Chip. Are there any private rooms with locking doors or large pieces of furniture that could be moved up against the door?
She's looking for a bathroom.
Well, there's a bathroom right over there.
Can the bathroom be locked?
I think so. Never really used this room before, but probably.
I'm gonna go over into the bathroom and check to see whether there is a lock on the bathroom or what the bathroom looks like.
I want to try and follow after you a little bit.
So when you open when you step up to the bathroom door, the door slides open and you see this pretty small bathroom. It's about 15 feet almost deep, roughly, with a little wiggle room, but with the toilet and the sink in there. There's a decent bit of space that you could sleep, but there doesn't seem to be any furniture that you could be placed anywhere. But the door, however, can be locked from the inside.
Don't worry, guys. I can just sleep in here. It'll be fine. Okay? It's got a lock. Unless there's a different room, Chip, if you could maybe show me a different room to go into. One with a lock or other ways of barring entry.
I mean, I guess you could use my room?
Really?
Sure. As long as Father says it's okay. Or we don't tell him, maybe?
Oh, we lost.
Yep, you guys switched around. I'll switch you guys around. It'll take it just 2 seconds. Just keep role playing. It's not going to affect anything.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened.
So you're saying that you need to ask your father if
just
I
not
can
tell him.
sleep in your bedroom.
Or
Chip, you do know that your bedroom is a shared room, much like this one with your other members of this group.
yeah, I mean, it's not private.
Well, then why would you offer it?
I don't know, because sleeping in the bathroom seemed a little lonely. I don't know.
Well, with a woman of her talents and abilities, I'm not surprised she loves sleeping in the restrooms. But if she doesn't want a better accommodation, then you should let her lay where she does.
Perry? What does that mean?
If she has a lot of talents, wouldn't it be better for her to be in the room with the other guys and she can kind of utilize them?
Hey,
Yeah, well, I mean, you make a good point. She wouldn't be so lonely then either. Maybe
Yeah,
it'd help her improve that mood.
Yeah, she
Yeah, it
could
would
show
probably
it off.
help with the voice in her head too. If she's talking to real people sometimes. Could be helpful.
Could be.
I don't sleep near other people. I can't. I won't.
What are you guys
I
talking
sleep
about?
alone. I sleep alone.
Barry, it's okay. If you're afraid, I mean, no one really disturbs me. So, I mean, I've had to bunk with a lot of people before. I could protect you if you want. I mean, no one really comes anywhere near me.
I'm not afraid. Why would I be afraid? I don't know what happens when I sleep. So I'm not going. I will not sleep with other people.
Do you have nightmares?
Doesn't everybody?
Well, yeah, but some people have them more often than not. I mean, Eris, when we were hanging out a while back, when he'd have too much to drink, he'd have like night terrors and things. But
I'm supposed to tell anyone that.
Let's talk about Eris's nightmares for a second here. What do you dream about, Eris?
We can all just sleep in the places we've decided, and just let me know what time you want your alarm in the morning. Me and Chip could make sure you get a nice early awakening.
I will wake up whenever I want to wake up. You can go find a different bathroom to use in the morning. This is where I will sleep. I just need a pillow, or actually, you know what? I can use my cloak as a pillow. I don't need anything from anybody. I don't need anything from any of you. I'm going to go in the bathroom. I'm just going to slam the door shut.
Eris walks over and knocks on it. He's like, yeah, if you need an alarm, just speak up now.
No, I'm gonna go.
I don't
Scrat.
think she heard me, you guys.
Yeah, well, don't worry about that too much. Say, Scrat, you've been doing a lot of things for a lot of folks for a long time. So, I got a question. You know how to open up that door?
What was it, Barry? How to open that door?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I don't think we want to do that, even if we could.
Well, I'll put it like this. If I got to use the restroom, I'm not hunting down another one. So I figure it's a lot better than me bursting through the door myself.
Yeah, I see your point, though. That's not really in my skill set.
Yeah, well. Any of the rest of you know how to do that?
Varia is going to open the door back up. You know this door is not soundproof, right?
Couldn't tell you ignored us last time.
I didn't ignore you. I was sleeping last time.
Well, I was referring to...
I think he was talking about just now when I knocked on the door asking to be your alarm. It's my favorite activity.
Why do you like being in alarms so much?
People are really grumpy in the morning, and it's funny.
I mean, I have a level of respect for all of you now that we fought together a little bit at least, but I do not have any trust for any of you. So if you're going to be trying to break into this bathroom while I'm sleeping, I will not be sleeping in it. I will find somewhere else to sleep.
Well, that sounds like a lot better idea than me, rather than blocking off something that people need to access regularly.
Farewell then, gentleman and lady. And I'm going to walk to the main door and leave the room, walking back into the main area that we were brought into first, starting to head over towards where I saw Chip's father go into his study.
Okay. So you head out, and while she's heading out, we'll get to her heading that way in just a second. So if you guys want to continue.
Eris is gonna start going around the room, looking under bunks and up in the ceiling and pushing open like ceiling tiles, and he's gonna be looking for like any kind of bugs or camera devices that could be in the room.
As I see you starting to go around poking around, and I'm just going to shake my head and say, look, it's a given that they're watching us. They're listening. They're watching. I'm sure of that. But the important thing is you'd rather have them looking. You start hiding their things, then they're going to start being a lot sneakier. And they might cause us problems.
Eris stops for a second, kind of goes up to you, and he's like, yeah, but if we know where the cameras are, it'll be safer for us to talk and make plans on how to get out of here.
Sets your mind at ease.
And he goes back to looking for stuff.
You could always ask that Chip fellow if you trust him.
He kind of just fought against us, so not really sure about that guy.
Brad, you look like you had something to say about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
And give us one second.
Ship guy either.
Dawn has her connection's being a little iffy, so when she comes back in, it'll pop all the cameras. I'm sorry, everybody. But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that Chip guy either, but I've had a very long day, so I'm just gonna head off to bed now.
I'm going to approach Chip, I think, and I'm going to say, look, I know you know that there ain't a whole lot of trust to go around for someone like you right now. But I'm going to give you the chance. I can't prove whether or not you delivered those explosives, and you say you don't remember. Can you show us where they hide the cameras and the listening devices around here? If you could, I think it might do a whole lot to settle down a lot of us.
Show you where they hide them?
Well, sure, you've been living here long enough. You might have some idea.
I don't know where they are either. I'm pretty much always being monitored, so never had much reason to look around for cameras or anything like that, so.
Well, I just figured you getting caught breaking into that place and whatnot, maybe you had some experience with that kind of thing.
I mean, like if I'm going on a mission, I haven't been on very many missions, but when I do, I get the blueprints and all that. I don't really get that here because Father likes to keep an eye on everything.
Well, it's worth a shot anyway.
I wish I could help, Mr. Perior. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, maybe someday you'll be able to make it up. We'll see.
I still don't understand why you're so upset about what I did. I mean, even if I did, it was just me delivering it. It would have been someone else.
Look,
there's
a lot of reasons.
Blow stuff up.
Well, you know what? I can't prove what you did or didn't do, and just look, we're not going to talk about this right now. All right, I don't know who you are.
I'm
I
Chip.
thought Scrat could vouch for you, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he doesn't know me very well. He just saved my life.
Yeah, well, the only other person who knows you is that bastard that bombed my mech. So you'll have to excuse me.
I don't know very many people, but I know you guys now, so that's a start, right?
Yeah, that's a start, Chip. Just look. Why don't you go to your room, do something? I don't want to. I don't want to treat you wrong, but I don't have no time for you or any of the things that go on in this facility anymore.
Okay. If you say so, Mr. Perior. You have a good night, okay?
Sure.
And I'll leave.
All right.
Did I end up finding anything when I was looking around?
So you spent some time. Can you roll an investigation check for me?
Mm-hmm.
Nick, can you kick off her other camera? Thanks.
11.
All right. Yeah. So you start looking around and you start seeing like there's some along the walls and stuff like that, and besides some of the cabinet, there's like one decently sized cabinet. And there's some like chests in front of the beds. Around the chests and stuff, there doesn't seem to be anything underneath them, but the cabinets, you do find beside them and behind them, there's some like holes that go into the wall that look like they could be a source of a microphone or something like that. They seem to be flush in the wall though. They're not like able to be pried out. You'd have to like basically blast a hole. Is from what you
Right. So what Eris is looking for is like some kind of like a blind spot where it'd be safe to talk. So are they like kind of uniformly scattered throughout the room, or?
From what you can tell, there doesn't seem to be a spot in which you would be unheard, but visually you can't find any video cameras as much.
Okay. I'll go up to Dawn, and I'll say real quiet, hey Dawn, it's not safe to talk here, but first chance we get, we got to get out of here.
Oh, sure. Why?
I don't think it's safe with these people.
I mean, they seem pretty nice.
Yeah, we don't know them very well, and that Chip guy, he kind of tried to kill us yesterday or earlier today.
Yeah, well, we're not leaving without Perior.
Yeah, I don't know, when we talked earlier, it seemed like he wanted to leave too, so maybe we'll wait to see when he's ready.
Okay. Sorry I mentioned your night terrors. I know they always happen in the next room privately, and it usually happens when you're sleeping with someone you don't really know before. Like.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
I just didn't want them to be scared if they heard you screaming or something.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of chance of that happening here, but thank you for being concerned.
Okay. Well, just you want to do a code word?
A code word? Yeah. What's the code word? What do you think?
Fries.
Perfect. Fries. I like it.
Yeah, it's like chip, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll let Sir Perior know the code word.
Okay.
That's the signal.
And we just dash?
Yeah, or something. I don't know. I haven't got it all worked out yet, but.
Okay. All right. I trust you. I'll sleep nearby.
Okay. I'll go cuddle up with Fluffy in the corner.
I'll lay on the nearest bed to Eris and Fluffy.
All right. So, Scrat, are you also going to be laying down, or are you going to be kind of walking around, or?
I'm going straight to bed.
Oh yeah, yeah, you said that already. I'm sorry. So everybody's pretty much hitting the hay, so to speak. The fabricated hay of beds, and you, as you all are kind of getting ready to rest your heads and stuff, we're now going to shift over to Varia before she gets to the door. Chip's still going to be back in the room while she's heading this way, and you kind of make your way over to the conference room, so to speak. And when you get there, you find it empty, and the lights are like kind of turned down, but they're not completely off.
So I'm going to look around in the conference room, and I'm going to glance at the door that I saw Chip's father go in, like his study per se. I'm going to glance at the door that Cypher had pointed out was the kitchen area, like the hallway towards the kitchen. And then I'm going to glance at the door that Cypher said was the armory. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that, like, she's got a lot of decisions going on of where she thinks that she should go. And she's going to head towards Father's study.
Okay.
And walk up to it and knock on the door.
All right, so you knock on the door, and soon after, there's a little screen right beside the door, where you can tell, like, it's kind of like an input section or something like that, and some typing starts appearing on the thing, and it says, "You're not Chip. I'm waiting for him."
No shit, I'm not Chip. I know you can hear me. Open up.
He says, "What do I have to gain?"
What do you have to lose?
It says, "Time, life, many a things."
Time is fleeting anyway. Let me in.
Life does not have to be.
Life always is.
And at this point, since you spent a decent bit of time kind of looking around, deciding after this Chip, you're going to be kind of walking up into the conference room, and you see around the corner to the study is Varia standing there saying some stuff.
Hi, Father.
You see on the screen that he usually leaves messages on, or in that, like, says, "Come in, Chip, leave Varia behind."
I guess he doesn't want you to come in. I'm sorry, Varia.
Well, all right. Have fun, Chip.
He's not much for talking with people, so I'm sorry again. And I'm gonna open the door and go in.
The door opens up, and you walk in. Barry, are you walking away, or?
I am going to walk back towards the center of the conference room.
Yeah.
And head towards the door to the armory.
So as the door opens up and you're about to turn around, you do see Bluprint standing in his room near a table, and he kind of smiles at you in like a cocked smile while he's tapping his fingers along his desk.
I'll wave at him.
And he'll nod at you as you kind of turn around and walk off. All right, so Chip, you go inside. So Varia, you can kind of say where you said you're going to go towards the armory.
Yep, going towards the armory door.
Okay, so you kind of walk that way, and we'll get to that in just a second. So Chip, you walk into the door, and immediately as the door closes, his cocked smile changes to one that you know very well, which looks to be disappointment.
What is it, Father?
Quite the few you brought back to me, you did.
Pretty good fighters, though, right?
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting them to be so valiant in their efforts.
They can't really go back to being in the public eye, so I think they're going to help.
Yes, I think there's a way for us to all be helped in this situation one way or another. That's the only reason I'm letting them stay here, just so you understand.
I understand.
So what do you think of these people?
I mean, Scrat saved my life, so I think he's pretty cool, and I love his shirt. It's pretty sweet. Varia's strong-willed, I guess.
He chuckles at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bold to try to come and talk to you. I mean, that's something that you usually respect in people, so I feel like they're all valuable.
Well, we'll see. We'll see over time. So I'm going to need you to sit down and we'll do the usual, all right?
The usual?
Yeah. Take a seat. I'll extract all the data from you.
Oh, okay. I'm going to sit down reluctantly.
All right, so you sit down and he begins extracting all of the information from everything since you left. So back to Varia.
I am at the armory door, and I'm going to attempt to pick the lock.
All right. The locking interface is actually a Magitech system beside the door. So, would you like to, when you say, I know that kind of changes the.
I'm breaking in. Yeah, okay. I'm breaking in one way or another.
Would you like to, are you doing more of a hacking, or are you doing more of a trying to wire the system differently, or mess with the system in that format, or?
I'm gonna wire the system differently.
Okay. So you try to change the system's functions to a way to allow yourself in. So go ahead and make basically a kind of like a lockpick check, basically.
I rolled a nat 20.
All right. So you spend some time. It does take a while, I will say, because this place has clearly been made to the T to the design of Bluprint. But you are able to eventually get it to a point where you hear some sliding and shifting, and then next thing you know, the color starts changing and glowing, and the door kind of starts sliding open. It messes it up to where the door kind of opens up about a fourth of the way and stops. But there's enough room for you to get through.
I'll slip in through the door.
Right.
And I'm going to look around the armory and see what I can see.
So, you slipping into the door, you see a couple things that catch your attention. First off, there's a couple crates stacked on top of each other in the right corner, right when you go in on your right, in the corner of the room. You can't really tell what's in them just at a glance. However, there is a rack on the wall, directly in front of you, that you'd have to kind of walk around. And that rack, as you kind of peer around it, you see what looked to be a very intensely withheld set of Magitech weapon that have looked to be stockpiled here. There's also crates of what seem to be ammunition, arrows, different kinds of tools. There look to be kind of like thieves' tools, different small little potions and stuff like that here and there on some of these and small little tiny augments and stuff, all kind of in different crates in the background. And there's a lot of components everywhere. It seems this also seems to be some kind of workshop where they use pieces from here to make other stuff.
Do I see any spray paint?
Go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
Oh boy. That is 13.
So it takes you some time. You're I assume that you're actually like really wanting the spray paint, so you're going to keep looking for it if it takes more than 5 minutes, I assume. Okay, so it takes you some time. I would say roughly about 10 to 15 minutes, and you seem to come across in one of the crates a little box, a container in it. When you open it, you see there is some little paints in here, and some of which are cans. There's like 3 different cans in there.
Okay, and then do I see any rapiers?
You do see, from when you first glanced in the Magitech contained shelf kind of thing, it does have, there's a rapier in there that, from what you could see.
Last question, are there any closets in the armory?
There are no closets.
Okay, then I'm going to leave the armory.
Right, so as you turn around from grabbing the paint can, very satisfied with your find.
And the rapier.
The container with the rapier is locked, like very.
Really?
You can attempt to,
I'm gonna attempt to unlock it. I want the rapier.
All right. So
spray paints and rapier.
So make another. I assume you're gonna do it the same way. So make another check.
Oh boy, not as good. 14.
Okay, so you spend some time. You think you got this, especially after messing with the first one. You're not in. This seems to be a little bit different, so you're kind of not in the same groove. It takes a little bit longer. You're about 8 minutes in when you hear a cough from the doorway.
Does the cough sound familiar?
Yeah, it sounds very annoyingly familiar.
Hello, dickwad.
Up to no good, I see.
I was going to ask nicely, but I mean, your father refused to see me, so I figured I'd just come on in.
He closes his book, of course, and when he does so, he looks up at you, actually giving you what looks to be the first time that he's actually looked you directly in the eyes. And when he does so, he says, "Father told me that we have to cooperate, whatever that means to him. And to be fair, I think yesterday's fight was a sham. But if I have to obey, then I will. I will overlook this if you simply put everything back."
See, you're going to still have to overlook this, and I'm not going to be putting anything back. And then I also would like to know where I can sleep privately.
What do you even want the paint cans for?
Art?
Oh, that's right. He did say you were an artist. Art. Visual art is so lackluster in comparison to literature, but I assume you don't believe in that. I'll let you keep your paints, and I'll show you a room you can sleep in, if it might help you help us. But you are not going to get my father's weaponry.
Why?
To gain something here, you must give something in return.
But everybody else needs their trackers removed. I don't.
Oh, well, that is very odd. Why would you risk your life for other people like this?
I was told to.
Sadly, I can understand that, if not anything else. I honestly think that you personally need that rapier, because, to be quite frank, your fighting is very, very poor, and if it's going to get any improvement, it's going to have to be through external means. But I will say that might be something we can work out with Father as an arrangement, with the whole you not needing a tracker thing.
I don't want to work it out as an arrangement. I want the sword. I want to get it myself. I want you to leave. I will unlock this lock. I will steal this sword. And then you can show me where to sleep.
You're a feisty one, aren't you? Yes, you're quite boring me now, actually. The fact that you're just repeating the same things over and over again, never giving yourself any time to be willing to change. See, it's kind of ironic, don't you think? And he lifts his cape up a little bit, and underneath you can see that about 80 to 85% of his body is completely augmented. And he says, the ability for us to change generally makes us better. But in your case, I feel you'll be stagnant all your life, chasing away these dreams of art and other things. See, your art stays on a wall and is easily removed, weathered, taken away, barely even looked at, covered up by holograms. Literature, on the other hand, and he opens his book and kind of like thumbs down the pages, is something that can be changed and is willing to change and adapt to its time, and it lives forever in our minds.
Varia's going to walk over to Cypher, grab the book out of his hands, and kind of like lean up against him as she's grabbing this book.
Make a sleight of hand check, excuse me, to grab the book.
16.
Ooh, he rolls in at 20, so I believe he's going to pull that away. And he'll
Is he pulling it away as I have my hand on it, or?
He'll pull it away as you kind of reach in for it. I think he's gonna get with that. He's probably gonna get uncomfortable as you kind of approach. So he's gonna like, as you reach, he just slides it out and puts it in his thing. I think with that, he's gonna be kind of worried that you're going in for an attack. So he's actually going to dip down into the shadow and kind of come up in a different spot in the room and kind of walk out from behind the other crates and be like, "Tisk, tisk, can't even grab a book."
Oh, Cypher. See, the things that you don't know is that I have changed more than you could ever believe.
And let me guess.
And literature does not always change. Those words on the page are stagnant just as much as the paintings on the walls that I make.
He opens the book and he, for the first time that you see, pulls out a pen from that actually comes out from his hand, and he kind of starts writing with it. And he says, "Ignorance will be ignorance." And as he does so, he closes the book again, and he kind of starts to dip away. And as he does so, he says, "Keep the rapier, but if it stabs anyone in this place before we decide on you keeping it or not, I'll personally make sure I use it to kill you." And he dips away and leaves.
I'm going to go back and unlock the rapier case to take my rapier.
You were already kind of getting close, so we'll say it takes you another like 10 minutes or so, and then you eventually get to a point where you're able to open it up.
Okay. And then I'm going to go and look for a closet or room that is empty with furniture that I can push up against the door.
After kind of searching around, there doesn't seem to be the closest one that you can think of or that you can find is you actually find that in the dining area, the kitchen has some crates with like food supplies and stuff, and you're able to actually use that.
Is there only one door to get into the kitchen?
Oh, yes, there is.
Okay. Then I'm going to sleep in the kitchen, and I'm going to push the crates up against the door.
Okay. So you are able to kind of do all that, and you find yourself kind of alone in this kitchen with the door blocked off, and you find yourself eventually getting tired and I assume falling asleep, unless there's anything you'd like to do before.
I'm going to put my newfound paints inside of my bag, admire my rapier for a minute, and then make the cloak that I wear. I'm gonna use it to like fully encompass my body and kind of make a pillow out of the hood of it.
Okay.
So it's a blanket pillow now.
All right. Okay, so everybody's pretty much at this point asleep. Chip's still in the office with the data extraction occurring. So now we're going to fast forward back to where we ended the last episode with you waking up, and all of you kind of waking up to the sound of an explosion at near, from what you can tell, it seems like the front of the, we'll call it a base, so the front of the base, so where you came in. And when that happens, you're able to kind of wake up for the most part, and I'll leave it to you guys. I will say though, Varia, roll they did their perception checks based off of from where they were. Yours, if you don't mind doing another one, because I can't remember what you rolled at the time.
18, 22.
All right, yeah. So, and it makes sense because you're actually closer to the area in the first place. So, you're able to hear the explosion very loudly, and it automatically wakes you up fully. I will say to everyone else, it kind of seems a little faint. It's not like super loud shaking the whole building. It's more like just you can hear it. All right, and I'll leave it. So, Varia, we'll come back to you in just 1 second. So, we're back in the bedroom with everybody kind of slightly hearing that in the distance.
Eris wakes up and starts kicking Dawn's bed, and it's like, Dawn, stop snoring.
I wasn't snoring.
What was that then, if that's not you? Scrat?
Look, I'm gonna see if I can figure out where Varia is. I don't know what's going on, but I want to make sure that we're at least together.
Yeah, let's stay close. This might be our chance.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm gonna wake up and move towards the room. I'm gonna kind of rush towards the room where everyone's in.
I'm gonna sneak up to Perior and just kind of lean in really close and just be like, the code word is fries. When we say it, we run. Okay.
So a couple things to also state. I'm going to go ahead and pull everybody to the battle map so you can see where everybody's at and stuff in the base. So let's do this. So Chip, whenever you wake up, you're back in your normal bunker room where you normally sleep. But when you wake up, there is something that you notice very easily, actually. You look around, and Cypher and the others are nowhere to be found.
I'm going to quickly go over to the beds and just kind of like look under them, be like, guys? I better go see the others. And then I'm just going to kind of leave.
Oops. So where's everybody else off to? I'm sorry, I had to pull this up so I can make sure you're going to be in the right spot.
I'd like to be poking my head around the corner to look out into the hallway from the room we're in.
All right, so so you poke your head out.
I'm following behind them three.
Okay. And we will be next week. We will have the tokens with the actual character art in them. So till now, you guys will be using the same ones from last time. All right, so as you peek your head out, you do see on the right, Chip is running down the hallway towards you guys.
Chip, what the hell's going on?
I don't know what's going on.
You know where Varia went?
No,
Oh, I'm
she
sorry.
went. She went over to see Father, which wasn't the greatest idea. But then after that, I didn't see her. I just came right here. Cypher and the others weren't in the room with me, so I don't know where they are either.
Well, it looks like we got to track her down then.
Well, I think that's a good idea. She wanted a private room. Maybe the kitchen?
Well, you're more familiar with the facility. Why don't you lead the way?
All right. It's this way.
And I'll follow him.
All right, so he's gonna, after talking to you, he's gonna start taking you towards, and I think Nick is currently working on grabbing the, switching out the avatars, or if maybe that was Dawn.
I just already did mine.
Oh, okay, cool. Never mind then. All right, so you guys start heading down towards the kitchen, all together. You guys can kind of order yourself how you would be lined up, and as you poke your head through, before that happens, Varia. So what's the deal?
So Varia, when she heard the explosion, like jumped up. She wasn't really sleeping very deeply anyway, and has like thrown her cloak off and has pulled her rapier out, and is looking around to see if there's anyone in the room with her, and then looks down at herself, and then looks around the room again.
All right. You look around and there is nobody else, but once you kind of move everything and get to a point where you can get out the door, you kind of peek your head through, and out in the kitchen you see Sir Perior peeking his head through the door to the kitchen from the hallway.
Did you hear that explosion, or that whatever it was? It sounded like an explosion.
Yeah, I may have heard something. Don't know what it is, but I'd be a lot happier if I did.
Do things explode here very often, Chip?
No, not really.
Okay.
All right,
We should
so-
probably prepare our weapons.
Do you know where your father is? Maybe he knows something about it.
No. I mean, maybe he's in his study still, but I don't know. With Cypher and everyone being missing, I don't know if he's still there. We could check.
Hey, did you always have that thing? I point to Varia's
Rapier, yeah.
yeah, right here.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it looks familiar, actually.
It should, Chip. It should.
Why?
Let me guess, a thief and an artist then.
I'm not a thief.
And that's yours, right?
It is now.
Are you an art thief?
I am.
There you go.
I am
That's
not.
how she got all that talent.
I am. No, I'm not.
You
An
just
art
steal
thief.
your paintings.
I am an artist.
And then you
I
show them as
am-
your own?
Hey guys, just quick reminder: there was an explosion that we heard, and that's why we all woke up.
Yeah, so
Right.
why
Maybe
don't
we can get to the paint and the swords later.
Varia is very offended that they would call her a thief.
At this time,
I am
while
an
you
artist.
guys are arguing amongst if she stole the sword, or if she steals her paintings, or if she, whatever she does. And Eris is clearly pointing out what's going on, and that there's some priorities to be made. While this is all being said,
I'm like doing like signs of like pointing to like Eris is like.
You notice. So can you guys like right here in the hallway? Can you put your characters where they actually would be, real quick? I know that during that kind of conversation, you probably moved a little bit.
It'd probably be like here. I'm gonna be searching my bag, by the way.
You're just
to
like
make sure
in the
no
wall.
dust been taken. Wait, is that a wall?
Various was.
That's a doorway. It's a doorway. I'm halfway in the doorway.
Which one's Dawn? Is she the one to the left up against the wall?
It's the one that looks like
I'm-
Dawn.
I'm the one that's my character.
Oh, this one right here? Okay, got it. Yeah, I'll be right there then.
If you move it. Okay, there you go. So, you guys are all chilling. So, Varia and Sir Perior make a perception check for me.
That is a 15.
5.
All right. So, Sir Perior, you're like engrossed in Varia's new weaponry, and
Engrossed in Varia's what?
her weaponry, dude. Come on. Her equipment. Yep. So, Varia, because you're kind of looking out the door, this actually makes very much sense. You kind of have an eye down the hallways, and you see from this hallway right here, this kind of corner, around the corner, some really like low smoke starts rolling around the corner.
You guys,
Yep.
there's smoke.
Oh.
There's low smoke. I don't know what it is, but it does not seem good. And I'm going to point, like, showing them where that smoke is.
I'm gonna go over here and kind of take a look that way.
Yep, you see it?
Please tell me that isn't the exit.
It's not the exit.
It's one of the ways to go to it. The exit's right here.
It's not the exit.
Are you just saying that, or is it really not the exit?
He asked me to say it's not the exit.
Yeah, but okay, we don't have a lot of time, so if it's the exit, just nod your head.
Oh.
All right, let's go the other way quickly.
All right, lead the way then.
As I'm going that way, I'm going to be using precipitation to try and push the smoke, fog, whatever away if I can. Just keep it away.
At this point, I just want to say the fog is not touching you guys or anything. It's a little bit. It's down the hallway. But I do need everyone to make I know this is going to sound weird, but I need everybody to make an intelligence-based perception check.
So if we have proficiency
in perception, then you would get proficiency in the check.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm confused.
So
roll a d20.
just roll a d20.
Yeah, so roll a d20, and if you're proficient in perception, you add your proficiency modifier.
Okay.
But if
Dirty
not,
20.
then it's just what you roll with your intelligence modifier.
I've got a 22 on that.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
15.
So just add proficiency. Don't add int or anything.
Add your int and proficiency.
Add int and proficiency.
If you're proficient in it,
yeah.
Okay, 16.
Okay, so so what's did anybody roll above a 16 or above?
Yes.
We're at 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
16.
20.
Okay, so anybody up 16 and above, so I think that's Eris, Varia, and Sir Perior. You all notice something in your or in Chip, I'm sorry. You all notice something in your vision, kind of like wiggy, like something seems off. Like you see something that didn't look exactly how you thought it looked. Yes, like before you guys slept, and it like kind of like as you note, like as you look at it, like you look away and you look back, and it's back to normal. And it's small stuff. It's not like very specific things. It's like, for instance, maybe a certain panel on the floor. Like you could have swore it looked, something that's small like that.
Hey guys, I think I have an idea.
What's the idea?
This looks very similar to my training, if you know what I'm saying.
Hmm.
So,
Well then,
Oh, okay.
if you're familiar with it, then why don't you take the lead then? It'll be a chance for you to prove yourself again.
oh, okay, will do.
You think he's testing us?
He might be. Something he would do. I'm going to deploy my shields, and so the gauntlet's going to expand. You're going to see the web of the purple energy, and then out of my mechanical arm, I'm going to raise it up. The cloak's going to kind of fall down, and then I'm going to deploy my katana. It's going to fold out. It's got like a purple glow along the blade.
All right, so you guys start heading down the hallway and following behind Chip. And you turn the corner, and there doesn't seem to be anything off. So I guess everybody just move up to, I guess, up here.
Okay.
As we're moving down this hallway, and he's getting out his weapons and preparing himself, I think I too would like to pull out my rapier. And how that's going to look is I close my eyes and I focus very, very intently, and a gout of white flame erupts from the right hand of Sir Perior and forms out into almost crystalline structure that is in the shape of a rapier.
That's so cool.
So you guys turn this corner, and there doesn't seem to be anything going on. That the fog doesn't seem to be in this portion of the hallway or anything. The door, however, is closed. It is not locked or anything. It closes by itself. You would know that from yesterday.
All right, this way.
Hey, Chip, you wouldn't know if this smoke fog stuff hurts us, right?
I've never seen it before.
Okay.
All right, going in.
All right, so as you walk up to the door, it opens up, and you're able to see inside. At your feet, there is the layer of fog kind of filling this room, and it kind of starts pouring out towards you guys. However, as it kind of brushes past you, there doesn't seem to be any direct effects by it. It doesn't seem to be magical in any nature or anything like that. But inside, you do see sitting at one second. At the table up here, this conference area, there is a familiar looking person standing there. And who it is, once you kind of look, you recognize it to be the same individual from when you fought the, I guess what we would call a Magitech monstrosity. The individual who left from that scene is standing in here with a handful of Promethean guards.
I think we chose the wrong door.
I mean, it would have led this way anyway.
We can't choose another door?
No, not that'll get us out. We have to go through this room.
Well then, Chip, looks like it's your time to shine. I'll give him a light slap on the back.
I'm gonna kind of stumble into the room, and then kind of regain my composure. Say, "Hey, I remember you."
I'm gonna use some non tokens that aren't exactly his. I can't grab his right now, so I'm just gonna use this one. So that he's standing here, and we'll use.
Take your time.
You're welcome. So he kind of rebuttals back at you. He kind of turns at you after saying something to one of the guards and says, "Yes, you should, honestly. That would be really odd if you didn't."
I mean, of course I do. What are you doing here? You're in my house now.
Your speech is very odd, sir. Does the rest of your party talk this way?
You speak to me.
Well,
We're gonna die.
I'll give you one chance. I do like to watch your group here, and I have great hopes for them. How about we make a deal?
It depends on what the deal is. Only if it's good for us.
Oh, I think it's good for you.
Eris is gonna push into the room as soon as he hears, I'll make a deal. He's gonna kind of push in and like listen a little closer.
Okay, so at this point, I think you guys will be a little up into the, at least to be able to see him and stuff. All right, so I'm just gonna use some other tokens for. I'm gonna use these for the Promethean guards for right now. Okay.
And as we're kind of standing here observing all this and Chip's doing all this talking, I do want to give him a little pat on the back. You're doing all right. Just keep going.
And at this point, he looks around and he kind of looks past Chip for the most part, and he says, "Well, I honestly think that this deal might be a little sweeter for the rest of you involved. How well do you know this person?"
Look, I don't know the fella very well.
You know him better than we know you.
Exactly.
Well, I know there's something else you know better than you know either of us. You know freedom, do you not? You know life not on the run. I'm sure you know that well.
And you got a point you're making, or just pointing out the obvious?
I want to cut a deal. You hand over. He kind of looks over to the room behind him towards the study, Bluprint study. He says, "You hand over that man in there and everything you know about him. I'll take it upon myself to give you your lives back."
Now that sounds like a pretty good proposition.
Now I don't.
Although
I don't mean that you'll be free from, crime in terms of being accused of such, but I will make sure that from what I've been told, you're looking for parts to switch out for your mods for tracking, I've heard, huh?
And if we were?
Well, that's the freedom I speak of. Not having to look over your shoulders every so often as he looks around at the group.
Varia's... Oh, go ahead, Perior.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Varia's going to send a message to each person one by one. This is a Promethean guard. This is the leader of this group of Promethean guards. You cannot trust anything he says. They are who track us. Do you think they're honestly going to give us anything that wouldn't actually benefit us? That would actually benefit us?
As that message comes across, I'd like to respond to that with, Bluprint blew up my fucking mech.
I'd like to respond with, yeah, but Bluprint isn't really a good guy either, and I thought we wanted to get out of here. Maybe this is our ticket out. But also, we don't really know anything about Bluprint, and she kind of just keeps going on about how they don't actually have any information until it runs out of words.
She stops listening after like a second and sends the message to the next person.
Yeah.
They make a good point. What kind of guarantee can you give us that we're not just swapping out one tracker for another?
You're talking to the guy, I assume?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't tell if you were replying back to Barry or not. So as you say this, he kind of notions for one of the Promethean guards behind him to come up, and they step up, and they hand him a piece, and he says, "Well, have you even been told if he has the part on him right now?" And he looks around.
How about this? How about I'm going to gesture with my sword at him. How about we cut you a deal? You surrender, and we won't kill you.
You won't kill me. Cut me a break. Listen, I've been watching you, and this... I'm helping you. You don't even know what's going on in this city right now, and you think that you have what it takes to kill me. Oh my god. Look, enough with the theatrics. I want to know if you're willing to give me something that doesn't even hurt you at all for immediate gratification of these little chips. And he holds his hands out, and there's these little modifications that you can tell are augments in his hands.
I am going to reach out my hand, and there's going to be a purple and black sphere forming in it, and I'm going to fire it at the chips in his hand.
All right. So make an attack roll.
That's a 9.
Okay, so
9.
As I do want to as Chip, as you raise your hand and kind of start charging up this thing, does anyone in the group do anything?
I'm here for the ride. I want to see this unfold.
I'm gonna try to stop him, like grab his arm. Yeah.
All right. Well, so make a sleight of hand check for me real quick.
I'm just gonna tighten the grip of my backpack.
Nice. So yeah, you kind of leap over and from behind him, and you grab his arm and pull it down, and it causes your shot chip to get shot right into the ground and kind of like explode near your, like about 5 feet away from you.
You're lucky he did that.
Chip, relax. Let's just hear him out.
No,
Those could be the mods that we need.
I don't think we should. I'm going to send a message to everyone saying, hey guys, remember how different it looked? I think it might be a simulation. This might be a test. You might not want to say you're going to turn in the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to just go back to posturing.
After hearing that, I'm going to see if I can have any clue of them being potentially holograms. In fact, from what I learnt earlier, actually, we fully rested, haven't we?
Yes, that was a full rest.
I'm going to use what I learned earlier, and I'm going to try and imprint prey on the main man to see if he's just a hologram.
Okay. Can you post that in the Roll20 chat real quick? So, also, while Chip says this, everybody make a another check like earlier, so a perception check with intelligence base with advantage.
With advantage?
Yes,
Thank
with
God.
advantage.
I rolled a nat 1 at first.
15.
I rolled a nat 20, so 22.
3.
Not a whole lot better. 8.
Hey, what are we rolling, sorry?
A perception check, but use intelligence instead of wisdom.
Okay.
Eris rolled 21.
Okay, that is 14.
So everyone who got above a 18 this time, you're going to notice some small details about the guy's appearance. Like, for instance, before that, when you guys encountered this person, he had his cape that was kind of like, I explained it as almost like a vampire's cape. I don't know what those exactly called. Like the little spikes coming out on the end, and it has like the red inlay. The edges are like, they seem to be like different. Like it seems to be shorter or bigger. Like something about it just seems different from when you first met him or encountered this person. Also, Dawn, whenever you attempt to imprint, nothing happens.
Guys, they're not real. And she's like kind of like loosening up. They're not real, guys.
Why don't you
Really?
be a little quiet over there, Dawn?
Oh, sorry, they're not real, guys.
Why should she be quiet, Chip?
And as she says that they're not real, I'm just going to start walking over towards them.
Behold, mortal foes, as we will strike you down, and I'll just like, point to them.
I'm going to... Oh, sorry.
Okay, so yeah, so you're walking towards him, and as you guys are all walking towards him, Dawn says she will strike them down.
Heck yeah.
And the guy kind of pockets the augments, and as he does so, he decides, as you are approaching Sir Perior, that with Dawn saying you will strike him down, he is attempting to see what is going on with your approach. Like, are you approaching to attack him or not?
No, I'm just kind of casually strolling up, and I'm not even going to try to reach out to touch the guard on the hand.
As you get closer, the Promethean guard that you get closest to, he raises his he pulls a short sword out, and kind of as you get close enough to like get near him, he kind of like puts it in between you and him, kind of gesturing that you need to stay away.
I'm going to slap the flat blade with my hand.
Your hand connects with it, and it goes as it does so, he is going to turn around and attempt to hit you with the hilt of his blade.
Well,
he missed. You're able to dodge it, so but he kind of takes a step back.
Hey, Chip, these holograms, these simulations don't actually harm us, right?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I've never seen a hologram that I can touch anyway.
It's simulated harm, but it still is harm.
Simulations are lies, Chip.
Sure. Semantics, maybe?
Are we done bickering over whatever you are all talking about?
Oh, yeah. Are we ready to fight now?
Oh, you're gonna fight me instead of taking me up on a once in your lifetime's offer to possibly get what you want at the expense of giving away someone who, from what I was told, threatened to kill all of you yesterday.
Number one, you are a Promethean guard. I would never take you up on any offer at all whatsoever. Number 2, he shielded me from a dagger yesterday.
If you want
And
the
he showed us
honest
good
answer from me.
hospitality.
Sorry, go ahead there.
He showed us good hospitality, unlike you.
Good.
Good hospitality is making you fight to your deaths.
No, it's the fact that I can take those chips from you once you're dead. And I'll step forward and I think I'm going to try to stab my rapier at him.
All right. So yeah. So at this point, you're going to, with that, you are going to initiate combat. So we will go into it.
While he does that, I'm just gonna be like, well, he didn't make me fine. Okay, are we rolling initiative?
Yes. Let me pull up the, before you roll it real quick. You're gonna have to roll it again. I'm gonna go ahead and add a
Oh, roll.
add
Okay.
a turn order. Okay. Go ahead now.
I rolled a 10.
4.
Unless you want me to roll 20, because
I can add it. It's cool.
10.
You said
Yeah,
10, right?
I got a 4. I don't know if you...
I believe, yeah. All right, so Alright, so you're gonna get your let me yeah, he is not able to tell that you're necessarily going for an attack, so you're gonna get a surprise attack with that.
Awesome. Okay, is a 23 gonna hit?
That will hit.
Excellent. It's going to take 10 damage as the rapier.
Alright. So next up, he's going to return an attack with, this is your first time seeing him pull anything out, at first, but ironically, he reaches into his, coat, and he pulls out, basically, like, a little, like, what you guys would know in the city as, like, almost like a fast food sandwich that you get out of a vendor. And as he does so, he's going to use the disengage action and back up all the way to up here. He's gonna he does like a double leap backwards, and as he does so, jumps through everybody and kind of like lands up and starts eating a sandwich, standing watching. These guys start moving in. It's actually going to. This guy's going to take an attack of opportunity to run past you. These guys will get up here.
And I have a 17 to hit on that.
Right. That's going to hit.
Ooh, he's going to be taking 11 damage.
All right. I'm putting colors on all of them, so if you want to, like, that way you can tell me which one you're hitting. So red is going to take 11 damage. All right. You're able to slice at him as he kind of runs through past you, and he kind of keeps, well, he's attempting to dodge, and he keeps going and runs up to Dawn, where he's going to take his short sword and attempt to cut her down. He actually rolls a critical hit.
He better not.
Oh.
You better stop.
So he's going to. Luckily, he only rolls for a total of 5 damage.
Okay.
Only.
I mean, it's a lot better than it could have been.
That's fine.
So the next person, Blue's gonna run up to you, Sir Perior, and he's going to strike at you. Wow, they're rolling high as crap right now.
As he attempts to strike at me, I'd like to cast Shield.
Okay.
Which will develop as I speak some words, and white flame engulfs me entirely and kind of shields me from it.
Cool. All right, and then the other one, green is going to attack you as well. Man, I've rolled a 20, a 19, and now an 18 respectively, and I am kind of impressed at these rolls. He's going to.
So that'll be under my AC with the shield.
Yeah, your shield goes up to
19 total.
19 total. Yeah, they have a +1 for their attacks.
Ah, shame.
Sorry. So that's gonna hit you for a total of 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 3 are kind of running across. The brown one, which is in the back, is going to, as the other ones keep running, he stops right here, and he's going to start casting a spell in the direction of the rest of the party. And you see him cast this, and those of you who understand magic well will recognize this augment he uses that is casting magic missile at you all. So, where did I just put my dice? Oh, there they are. So the for like the first dice is going to, he's aiming towards Varia, the second one being Scrat, and the third one being Chip. And the first one is going to be 1 damage, excuse me, 2 damage to Varia. The 5 damage to Scrat.
Why does that feel real, Chip?
5 damage to Chip.
Yep. That brings back some memories.
Right, so
That was a tickle.
Eris?
I have a quick question about. Okay, so I can hide behind somebody who's like one size larger than me.
Yeah.
What size is Chip? This is Chip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What size is Chip?
So you're a halfling, so that would count as small, correct?
Yeah.
Which would make you. He is going to be medium. So.
Okay, perfect. Can I hide? But I'm gonna try to like jump off of Fluffy and hide behind Chip, so I can try to get a good clean shot at the guy who's fighting Panda.
All right. Sounds good.
Or Don.
I'm gonna pull out another version of your thing, but I'm gonna put a color on it.
Okay.
So the yellow is gonna be your spider.
Can it be a different color? I can't see that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do red.
Perfect. I can see that perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So you hop off, and you're able to kind of hide behind him in one of the ways.
All right, and as I'm hopping off, my light crossbow is coming out of my arm, and my eye glows red and charges the crossbow with Hunter's Mark, and I'm gonna shoot at the guy who just hit Dawn.
All right. So so you're gonna hop off and hide there. To get a clean shot off, you're gonna have to move above Chip.
Oh, okay, so I can't hide behind him and like shoot between his legs or something?
Well, you can hide behind him and then move past him to shoot and still get that hiding advantage. Does that
Oh,
make
I
sense?
see. Okay.
So once you
So
move
I
over
would
here,
I would need to move like over here.
yep, and then you have a decent shot of the person. Because if you shoot from behind, that'll be like a lot of cover. So you're only gonna have to do. I'll say because of the angle and he's attacking her currently, just a -2 is fine for the shot. But if you want to move, you'd have to move up to like here to get a full no cover. But I mean, it's up to you.
Okay, do I still get the advantage because I'm hiding or no?
Yeah, you still get the advantage either way.
But just -2 to whatever the
Yeah.
hit is. Okay.
Yep.
17.
All right. So you roll up and you shoot. And you're able to hit him.
Oh wow. Okay, that's 11.
Nice.
And then I'll add the D6.
You actually, as you shoot this, where do you shoot it because it kills him?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm shooting it, and I'm trying to aim past Dawn, and I hit him like kind of in the side of the rib.
Nice. Yeah, so he grabs it. He is in the middle of attacking whenever you shoot his rib, and he just kind of grabs it for a second and kind of like immediately starts like falling over in pain and kind of like hits the ground, and you can tell that he's just starting to bleed out. So next up is going to be Chip. That's the end of your turn, unless is Fluffy going to go?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Can I move it as an additional action if I took a bonus action? Is it like a free action to move it?
It depends. I think it actually might count as a bonus action, but I'm not.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I don't think I can move it because I already used Hunter's Mark as a bonus action.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the case.
Yeah.
All right, so Chip, your turn.
Cease real quick. Can we just zoom in on the battle map for stream?
Yeah.
Chip's gonna say, "You can run, but you can't hide." And he's gonna, I'm gonna hex the one that shot the magic missile. And then I am going to, at my katana is going to get dismissed. It's going to fold back into my arm, and then you're going to see there's purple conduits on it start to glow, and then the ball of dark purple energy, and I'm going to fire a blast at that one.
All right. At the one near where? I'm sorry, I was moving some
The
stuff.
brown one, the one that shot the magic missile.
All right. So go ahead.
That's going to be 19 to hit.
All right, that hits.
All right, so it's going to be 5 force damage and 4 necrotic damage.
All right. So next up, if that's the end of your turn, is going to be Dawn.
Yep.
So the red one is dying. He's not dead.
The red one is dead.
Oh, the red one is
He's
dead.
just.
Okay.
I was just explaining that he's like dying over a couple seconds. It's not like, headshot or anything like that.
I'm gonna head over to my buddy Blue, who's alive, right?
My
Yep.
boy Blue.
And I'm going to, while running, pop open a little thing on my bear staff, and shove almost like what looks like a battery in. And that is my shillelagh that infuses with magical energy. And then I'm going to strike towards Mr. Blue. and I get a dirty 20 to hit.
All right.
And then that is a 7 damage, please.
Nice. 7 damage to blue. All right. Is that the end of your turn?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Scrat, you're up next, and after that is going to be Varia.
I'm going to first of all, I'm gonna ask Chip. Is there a way we can simulate like your brother coming in here and beating their asses?
No, that'd kind of defeat the purpose of training.
Fine. I'm gonna throw a Shield of Faith onto Varia, and then I'm gonna cast a Sacred Flame at the pink one.
Okay. He actually passes. So make sure you get that Shield of Faith in there, Varia.
Okay.
And Varia, it's your turn.
She is going to like very lackadaisically pull out her easel, press the button on it to make it into a crossbow, call out, "I don't like fake things," and shoot her crossbow at the blue.
All right. So go ahead and make that roll.
11 to hit.
It does not hit. However, at this point, the whenever you yell this out loud, all of the Promethean guards fade away. And the individual eating his sandwich, hops down from the thing, and he says, "Well, if you don't like fake things, then why don't we go ahead and test out that fake sense of confidence you have?" So, Perior, it's up to you.
All right. So as he's stepping down towards me, I'd like to cast Booming Blade.
Yep.
Which the crystalline structure in the rapier starts to expand somewhat. All the crystals fracturing apart and kind of hovering vaguely in space around one another as I thrust forward with the rapier towards him. Let's see.
Make that attack.
Hey, that's a nat 20.
Nice.
Hey.
All right, let's see.
Thrusted real good.
It's your thrusted weapon.
And that's going to be...
That was terrible, luckily.
Got 11 damage, unfortunately.
You said 11?
Yep.
Hit him with those crystals. All right.
And that'll be the end of my turn, I think. As I do that, I just want to say, just hand over those chips before you die, too.
All right. So when this happens, you see him kind of smile, and now it's going to be his turn. He is going to now pull out a weapon, and the weapon he pulls out is actually this what looks to be like a staff, and whenever he presses some buttons, it kind of two sickles like form on each end and going in opposite directions, and he begins to spin it behind his back while he looks at you and gives a big grin. And his first attack misses. You're able to dodge it, and his second attack is a critical hit. Jesus.
Oh.
I call hats. Loaded dice.
Loaded dice.
Well,
in a simulation, who would have... Alright, so,
I'm used to these things being unfair, guys. That's how he usually runs them.
So that's a total of 13 damage.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that doesn't really comfort me that much, Chip.
I'm sorry.
Cough out some blood.
And next up is going to be Eris.
Eris is going to shift the hunter's mark onto the guy.
Yep.
And try to find a good spot to hide. Probably try to hide behind these chairs over here.
Yep.
To get that advantage on that shot.
So doesn't the hunter's mark moving it take? Is that doesn't take its bonus action or no?
It's a bonus action to put it on someone after it dies. So like after a target dies, you can move it using a bonus action.
Yeah. So how do you how are you going to hide? Because the hide action is generally an action, and I don't know if your character can do it as a bonus action.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then I'll shoot it flat then.
It fleeted my mind earlier because I was just like not questioning it, but this time I was thinking about it. So you're just shooting at him. All right.
Got you.
So that'll
also I looked up the spider, so I can move the spider. It just doesn't get to like do anything, so I can move it wherever for free.
Okay. Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and move it, that's up to you.
I'm just gonna put the spider like up in front of Dawn to kind of like shield her.
Okay. So you get there and you're gonna shoot. So you're gonna make that shot with a partial cover. So that's going to be go ahead and give that. You don't get advantage, but just go ahead and make that shot with partial cover. So that's I'll do.
That looks like a nat 20, I think.
Another -2.
It would be green.
Yeah,
if
it would be green.
Oh, it's not? Okay. I don't have my glasses. I'm sorry.
You're good.
All right.
So so
25. Yeah.
it's still with
23.
even with the -2, that's still gonna hit. So go ahead and roll damage.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. 12 total.
All right. Nice. So you get a decent shot off on him while he's attacking Sir Perior, and you're able to like hit him pretty good. From what you can tell underneath his cape, you can see it sticks into him. So next up, Chip, and then after that's going to be Dawn.
So I'm going to use my Hexblade curse on him. And then I'm going to attack him with a magic missile. So you're going to see my arm glow again. But this time, instead of one, you have 3 different beams of energy, and 2 of them are going to ricochet out and then kind of angle back in, and one's just going to go straight for him.
Nice.
Right. Okay, so that's going to be +1 on each of them, I believe. So that's going to be a plus, with my hex, it's going to be a +3 on each, so 12 and 18. Or sorry. Yeah, 18.
All right. So you do 18 damage to him. After your magic
19
missiles. 19?
Yeah, 19, sorry.
All right, so you do
Got the
19
one.
damage as your magic missiles shoot and like kind of dodge around everybody in the room, barely missing them and able to still kind of lock in and focus in on them.
Take that, mister.
All right. He kind of winces in pain as he his blade comes to a stop from finally finishing that attack on Sir Perior. Whenever you finish doing that attack and casting that spell. But next up is Dawn.
I am going to pet Fluffy as I walk. I'm hoping that's a free action.
I'll give that free action.
Thank you very much. I'm going to come up beside Sir Perior, and with my most bravest hit with my weapon, I'm going to try and hit the dude. So that is a 17 to hit. That hit?
You said 17?
Yeah.
That is not going to hit, unfortunately.
I'm too busy looking at Sir Perior, like waiting for approval, that I just completely miss. And then I just look and I'm like, oh.
Don't worry, just try again.
So next up is Scrat.
Okay, I'm gonna move up to here. Oh, no. Before I do that, I'm gonna take off the shield on Varia, and I'm gonna say, it looks like Perry's gonna need this more than you. And then I take it off and toss it onto Perry. Move up to here, and I'll cast Healing Word on Perry too.
Okay.
Wow.
That's 6 health.
You helped him a little bit.
Thanks.
You know.
You tried. That's what counts.
I got you, bud.
I mean, at least there's a shield on him now.
So Varia?
I'm going to keep my crossbow out and just very nonchalantly fire an arrow again.
All right.
9 to hit.
Yep. It just kind of whizzes right by him as he kind of steps out the way, still kind of paying attention to them while you see him kind of like glance that way and smile. Yeah, you can. I will say that everybody in the party that's like actually keeping their eyes on him at the moment can notice that he does seem to be like his facial expressions have shifted to that of almost like impressed. Like you can tell that he's starting to get impressed about you for some reason. Like he seems to be kind of happy as you guys are like doing decent things.
He's impressed?
Yes. Find that a little odd, I imagine. All right, so with that, it's going to be Perior, your turn.
Once again, I shall activate the booming blade, telling him that you can fight all you want, but you're certainly not escaping. And I don't think I'm gonna probably hit with a 10.
He kind of like scrapes one of his blades along your rapier, and you see him smile, and he begins his turn by saying, he scrapes it off and kind of deflects it and says, "Oh, there's no intention of doing that." And he takes his pole and breaks it into 2 pieces, and the sickles kind of like fall back into the poles, and as they do so, the ends of the poles start glowing like really intensely, and almost like you can see them like pulling energy from his hands deep into the poles, and he aims them at you and Dawn as he shoots a beam of energy from them, and the one that shoots at you, Superior, you're able to kind of like cut the beam in half and kind of deflect most of it with your rapier, deflecting it. But Dawn, maybe you're just too worried about what's about to happen to Superior. I don't know. So you kind of your attention is a little off as one of the beams kind of catch you in your leg for a crit. And I swear all these crits are happening. I promise.
Crit happens, guys. Crit happens.
You gave me loaded.
Merry Christmas.
I really can't believe this is actually happening to this degree. So.
Every hit you've hit me with is a crit, by the way.
I told you guys.
He just doesn't like Dawn.
No, she's his favorite.
And that's
These things are rigged.
that's 13
That's a lot.
damage.
I tried to put the spider in front of you.
Oh, okay.
So when that happens, it's gonna go to Eris. Your turn. You see Dawn getting blasted in the front.
I'll run up to Dawn and be like, "Are you okay? That looked like it hurt." And I'll cast Cure Wounds on her.
I go to say like, yeah, but blood just comes out my mouth.
For 7 healing.
Dankeschön.
I'm gonna move Fluffy up to right here.
You alright?
Yeah. That'll be my turn.
Alright, sounds good. Next turn, Chip. And after that, Dawn.
Leave Dawn alone. I'm gonna attack him with another magic missile.
Alright.
So that's gonna be 16.
That is not going to hit.
No, 16 damage.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You said magic missile. I don't know why I assumed the damage was the roll. Alright, so
Because it was high.
And is that including your hex still?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Well, curse.
Curse.
Hex blade curse. Yeah, I have hex and hex blade. Yeah.
Okay.
Confusing.
Alright, so when that happens, you all see his form start to kind of like stutter and stuff, much like Chip's done in the past. And when this happens, like that. And when that happens, he is going to change. And as he starts changing, it changes into what you see now standing before you as Bluprint.
Yeah, that just about checks out.
And I heal for 5 when he dies, is defeated, I guess.
He is not dead. He is raised or lowered his weapons and stuff, and the hologram form starts glowing as it starts, you can tell, healing itself, and it gets to a point. Chip, you're very aware of this property. You've seen it before, and when it gets to a point where he is healed, he looks around and he starts clapping his hands.
Well, I'm glad you're pleased.
Just for the record, I was never going to take the deal. Just for the record. Just wanted to clear that up. There was some confusion in the beginning. Was never going to take it.
He gives a side eye to Eris, while still kind of like, well, I honestly didn't expect you to work as a party that well. But I know who I need to keep an eye on. And he turns his eye to Eris again.
Oh.
But the fact that you, and he turns to you at this point, he says, the fact that you listened to them and trusted them shows great promise in you all as a group.
Well, I'm glad you think so highly of us. You gonna let us out of this base so we can get your job taken care of and get the hell away from you?
Oh, of course. But first you might want to actually wake up. And then as he says this, he snaps his fingers, and you guys all find yourself in this room right here.
In the future, I'd like to be woken up with bacon.
As you kind of all are on these platforms,
How do I gotta be with the spiders?
Are we injured anymore?
You look around and you are not injured. It feels like you may still be where you were hurt, but you can tell that there's no physical damage.
How about spell slots?
All that stuff would have not been taken.
Okay.
Did you move me while I was sleeping?
He looks over, he says, well, breakfast had to be made, didn't it? And he points to the door and says, I want you all to go to the kitchen and we'll discuss where we go from here over some food.
They bring out the good food.
And he kind of walks past you all and leaves and heads that way. And you can see sitting in the corner, leaning against the wall, reading his good old book, is Cypher, kind of smirking at you all as you walk out the door. As you do so, when you do so.
Eris is gonna go like as soon as possible. As soon as they said breakfast, Eris is bouncing.
All right. So you guys
Chip's-
all head to the.
Chip's gonna kind of hang out and like kind of look at Bluprint, just like expectantly.
Okay. We're actually gonna take our break here and come back with you guys eating breakfast with the family. I guess family breakfast. We'll be right back after some small stuff. We're just gonna take a break and kind of get refreshed before we continue this episode, and we'll see you then. So stay tuned, and if you haven't, or if you're just joining in, make sure to check out our Discord and our other social media pages to keep up to date with all the new shows and all that stuff. Once again, Ishfel and Party Foul on Saturdays. Party Foul being at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Ishfel being at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely check those shows out if you have the time. But we'll be back after this quick break. All right, welcome back. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Garden of Eden, episode 3. And if you're still here, thank you so much for your support and everything. I hope you're enjoying the show and the campaign. So going back to what was happening, they just got out of this simulation. Bluprint is gesturing and pushing everyone, saying, hey, we'll talk over breakfast, because Eris mentioned that he wanted some food. He's like, why not? And heads that way, and I believe the party is all heading that way, except for Chip, who's going to stick around and kind of is awaiting kind of some kind of comment from his father. So as you guys all head out, last in the room is Blueprints kind of starts to walk out, and he sees that you're kind of looking at him, and he looks at you, and he kind of just gives you this nod. And you know this nod decently well. It's kind of his nod of approval, and it's the closest thing he's ever given you to a sign of love.
Oh.
So you guys head to the kitchen, and the other members of the family have made a decent meal for everybody. To the best of their ability with what they have. There is some nice food that is being offered to you, and as you all sit down, Bluprint kind of comes in. So you all sit down with who you would like to sit down with. I imagine all together, but it's up to you. So as you guys enter the room and sit down at the table's pretty long, so there's plenty of spaces to sit at. So you guys can choose who and where you sit at, or who near.
Is there already food on the table?
There is already food on the table. Yep.
Is there bacon?
There is bacon.
Is there an open seat in front of the bacon?
Yeah, sure.
Eris is sitting there immediately.
Cool.
And while he's grabbing his seat, I'm going to start looking around and see if there's any kind of alcohol in this room whatsoever.
There is not any alcohol that is like on the tables or in the room necessarily. However, you do, at looking around, see some of the other members of the group kind of just like standing around waiting for you to sit down.
I'll ask one of them. I'll say, Say, where's the fella gonna get something good to drink here?
One of them steps up and says, "Yeah, you mean the like juice?
Booze. No, I mean booze. Thanks, Scrat.
Yes. We're never allowed to have that for breakfast." And he looks around kind of at the other ones, and one of the other members kind of like shakes their head at him, and Cypher walks in, and as he walks in, he hears this and looks over, and as the other member looks to Cypher, Cypher kind of gives him a nod, and he kind of walks back into the kitchen as you sit down.
Yeah, I'll grab a seat next to Scrat then.
Yeah, I'll sit next to Perry.
You guys gotta try some of this bacon. It's delicious.
Is it alcoholic?
Next to Eris, and I'll just sort of put my hands on the table and slowly eat some of the bacon.
So everyone, Chip finally gets in, followed by Bluprint, and you all sit down. Those of you who sit down, and those of you who stand around are where you are. Whenever he kind of gets to the head of the table and kind of says, there's not a seat there, but he just stands there and says, "Well, I think you all deserve some good food after that, so dig in, and as you do so, I'll kind of fill you in on the details."
I'm going to sit down next to Scrat.
I think if there's toast and potatoes on the table, I'm going to start piling up the plate. Piece of toast, potatoes, piece of toast, potatoes, and so on in this fashion until it won't hold up anymore.
Yeah. So, as you're doing this, one of the guy who you asked about the alcohol comes back in, and he's holding like two things of alcohol, and he like looks at them both like awkwardly while gesturing towards you. And one you could tell is a darker, what looks to be a darker, like a bourbon or something of that nature, and the other one is like a just a clear liquor.
You'd do best to leave them both, boy.
And he just puts them down and kind of like looks really awkwardly at you as he walks away.
Yep, yeah. And I'll pour a little bit over for Scrat and a little bit over for me.
Barry is leaning up against a wall, and she's going to use message to Bluprint. Who moved me when I was sleeping?
He, as you all are sitting down and starting to dig in and fill your plates, he kind of walks up after Perior, after you finish pouring your last drink and are going to set it down. He kind of, not firmly or not like quickly, he just kind of rests his hand on the bottle, like gesturing to take it from you.
No, that's all right. Just leave it here.
He, as he's doing so, he doesn't let go. I mean, he's not like firmly pulling it or anything. He just softly grabbing it, and he reaches over to a cup, and he drags your hand a little bit, just softly, and just like pours himself a drink. And as he's doing so, he's not looking at you. He's actually looking at Varia, and he starts to say, "Well," and he pours it, and he sets it and says, "Thanks," and kind of walks back over to the head of the table and says, and takes a drink before saying, "I am sorry to have done what I did, but I hope you can understand that just your little fight from yesterday wasn't enough for me to necessarily trust you. Just proving yourselves to be fighters is not the same as having trust. And what I know trust as he looks around at his family and says, trust to me is what I guess would be mutually exclusive blackmail on both ends."
Well, at least
or
you're
being
honest.
able to take control of someone against their will.
That too. But I'll let you have the benefit of the doubt, and I thought, if Chip is going to fight me about wanting to be a part of your group, as you say it, and he doesn't have enough experience in the world, his recent developments have been pretty well satisfying my understanding of his ability in the city, but I would like him to gain some more experience of the real world, much like I wish Cypher would be willing to do. And he kind of looks over, and Cypher just kind of buries his head in a book. He looks back around the table before taking a pause before saying, "There's too much information to give out all willy-nilly, so do you have any questions for me?"
I got a whole list of them, but I don't think you're probably going to answer my questions. Like, how exactly did Frisbee manage to get a hold of someone as filthy as you?
Well, see, here's the thing, is I just did what I was told, like I previously stated in the, after the battle yesterday. My prior contact that made most of my work was through a sect of Prometheus members that had me do some of their scouting and collaboration type stuff for looking at places or getting hands on certain materials they couldn't allow themselves to be seen grabbing. And as I previously mentioned, that is kind of not possible now, considering Chip, and he looks over at him, is branded as a terrorist now, which is ruining all of my previously contracted work.
What a shame that is. Now, do you happen to know of a man named Riker?
I mean, I know of him. I do not know him personally.
Well, he seems like the kind that might be, well, or at least he seemed like he might have been at one point, the kind that would have used your type of service. Maybe the organization he was with would be interested in doing the same. So if you can point me in the direction of some of his contacts, we can get out of your hair all the quicker.
Yeah, I would like that, but first I want to lay some ground rules here. I told you I'd give you these parts in return for you getting me work, which it seems like you're interested in doing, but I'm, some would call it generous, I call it just being forward. I'll give you the parts now, because from my end of things, if you don't get me work, we'll say in the next week or so, you're gonna start seeing some bad things start to pop up.
What
I
kind
like
of
a man
bad
that makes a
things?
promise.
Well, that's for me to know and you to find out. Hopefully not, but only if you don't don't listen to what our deal and arrangement was. Yes, you don't have to raise your hand over there, sweetie.
You said that you have blackmail on both sides. We don't have anything on you. It just feels like you're blackmailing us.
Oh. You know the location of the one place that, I've hidden from the rest of the city my whole life, so if that's not what I would consider information that could be damaging, I really don't know what is.
Varia's going to send a message. What blackmail do you have on me? I'm an artist.
My blackmail, like I said, is for me to know and you to find out. Only if you don't play the game.
Out loud, I'm going to say, I don't like playing games. I don't need anything from you. What's in it for me?
Well, Cypher told me about that pretty little piece you used in that simulation there.
Oh, I didn't use it. I was told that if I hurt anybody with it, that it would get taken from me. And Cypher gave it to me. He was right there and said I could have it. So I don't know what Cypher told you. I think he might be lying to you.
He let you have it because I told him it would be okay.
Oh.
Yes, You bring up a good point that you don't technically need anything from me, and the fact that you're even helping this group out really honestly shows me that you as a group might actually be looking out for one another, which isn't something I'm used to around here.
Chip just sort of like nods, like, "Yep, that sounds about right."
So here's the deal. If you uphold your promise, you get to keep that little sword of there. I don't think it's going to be used by anybody here. He looks around kind of at the rest of the people, and he says, "That's fair payment for me."
So your idea of fair payment to me is a sword that I could go and buy off of any black market dealer in this entire city, and for all of them, an extremely expensive procedure and part.
Oh, I'm not doing the procedure. I'm just giving you the parts.
The parts are still expensive.
The parts are expensive to people who are buying them. I make them.
Touché, sir.
Also, that sword right there, that rapier, I made that too. And that's not an ordinary sword.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Looks around at the group. So if we have a deal here, which I think it seems that you wouldn't even be trying to stick around if there wasn't a deal trying to be made, you all need to give me some kind of work in the next week or two. If you don't, it's not my fault if some information starts getting spread out. Also, if you start spreading information about me, damn be sure that it's going to be the other way around too.
I can give you a job right now.
What was that, Pena?
Oh no, I'll let Barry go on.
Oh.
Don would have gone to speak up and would have been like
And what's this job you speak of, huh?
I was going to ask a contact to do this for me. I don't want my paintings in the hands of people that don't deserve them.
Oh, your paintings, huh? Well,
yes.
That's not going to be
particularly one. Particularly one. Delirium is still hanging inside of the gallery. I want Delirium down. I want Delirium burned. I have funds that I can access.
That's a simple job. And what, are you telling me that you have funds that you can access when you're a wanted criminal who your house and possessions have already been taken by the city?
I have friends.
If you say so. But that's not going to be a job that I don't... That's going to be worth that pretty little thing right there. Any kind of notions towards the rapier that you have on you? Now, to the rest of you, what do you say? Do we have a deal?
Well, I don't see that I have much option in this. I need that part, and you have it. So, that's good enough.
What do I get out of it, Father?
We'll get to that in a second. What about you? He points to Eris.
Eris is still stuffing his mouth with bacon, and he kind of looks up. He's like, I think we need some kind of contract or understanding. I don't see what you're getting out of this.
I'm getting work. I'm getting a livelihood.
How do we know we can trust the parts you're going to give us?
How do you know you can trust any parts you get off the black market, huh?
I don't really get my parts off the black market.
You can trust Amaris.
I mean, you've been toting that thing around with you, haven't you? And he points to Chip.
What? I don't understand.
He's like he's basically calling Chip a thing. He's like, you've been toting that thing around with you, haven't you?
You call that thing your father?
The reason I say that is because I created basically him. He didn't have that race augment before he was mine, in my family, shall I say. Normally, race augments have to be done within the first month, or else they won't have any effect and actually will spiral someone's body in condition until they die. I was able to find a way, after many, many years of research, to have it work on an individual that's already aged, that being Chip. Now, Chip is the only one of his kind. I haven't been able to replicate that creation and make it work with anyone else. I'm not exactly sure yet why he works the way he does, but I've been trying to find that out.
I see.
What is he?
I'm right here, guys.
What are you?
What do you mean? I'm Chip.
Do you have any memory before this augment was put in?
That's a good question. Never really thought about that before.
Well, I mean, I keep a backup of all of Chip's memories in my office, and I've went through everything that he's gotten, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of recollection. I tried to sift through that to see if that shed light on why he worked so well, but unfortunately every other project I've ever had has been a failure. And before you freak out, no, I did not just randomly take people and try to force them into a death or something like that. I only used people who were on their last branch.
Well, then I suppose that brings up another question. If those experiments of yours have failed so many times, then tell me why it is that those chips that you made are any different.
Because one is doing something that's trivial, and the other is doing something that's never been done before, except for with him.
I still want some assurance that those chips are going to work. Can you show us?
Well, why don't you just look at Chip then? His works. His has the very part that you're speaking of. Cypher's works. He points right.
Well, then open them up. Let's see.
Chip.
Don, do you think you can take a look at Chip?
You want to see my race augment?
Yeah, I'd like to see the augment that does the tracking. I want to see that it works on you.
It's a little personal, but okay, Mr. Perior.
Do you mind if I have a look?
Sure, Don. I guess.
And Bluprint, if you wouldn't mind. And you can say no. I just don't really know what you have on me. But I'm willing to help. I don't really have much of a choice. But do you think I could learn from you about how to make this stuff? It's really cool. Or
like
at least
shaking his head
watch.
like.
That'll come in due time if that suits your needs. I won't give you all the information I have, because that would just mean all this that I've locked away down here is just walking freely out in the city unprotected, but I may be able to assist in some way. But what I will say, and he pulls out a little like Magitech device, and he says, you can see here, as you go ahead and inspect Chip if you like, that his tracking mechanism, I've reversed engineered it to show me his location. Now, before you get all antsy, I'm not going to do that with yours. I don't have a reason to do that if you have Chip with you. And that brings me to my final point. Chip, you want to go with him, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I'm okay with this as long as you all find me work. Like I said, he needs to get some kind of better experience in the real world out there.
How do you plan on keeping Prometheus off our back until we get chipped?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if we go out and try to find you jobs, they're going to know where we are at all times, and they're going to know your business.
Not if I put this, not if you take these chips and have them implanted. Don't you have any points to Scrat? He says, as far as I was able to research, you have the ability to do this.
I look at Chip's implant and I ask, hey Pug, Does it look like we can implant something like that in these people? Well, not now, after I sober up, but...
She takes some time, like, analyzing for a second and says that, as previously discussed, she thinks that you'd be able to do it, with it, especially with her help. It would take a while, but you could do it.
Yeah, we could do it.
Well, if Scratch says he can do it, I'm inclined to believe him. You got an operating room?
Well, you could always use my office. I have a chair there that I use to retrieve chips, data logs, and it's specially designed to connect to augments and maintain stabilization while work is being done.
Well, then, if you don't mind, I'd like to get that done sooner rather than later. No offense, but this entire place stinks to high heaven.
How many deals do we have to get you? If we agree to this deal, how many deals do you need?
All you need to do is find one good one, and that's it.
And then we're done.
And then I don't know you anything, and you don't know me anything. Except for privacy. That's it.
I guess that sounds like a fair deal.
What about Chip?
Well, like I said, I'm being willing to, as long as you all vow to protect him. Like I said, he's my life's work. I'm not gonna let him slip out and go into danger zone, but to be honest, him being here is honestly just gonna pull more suspicion this way and to my work. So, if you all can learn some information and maybe find a way to get yourselves unwanted or anything, honestly, or get him stronger in some format further than just the simulations I run with him, then I don't see the harm in that.
Eris looks at... Go ahead, sorry.
The more I learn, maybe I'll be able to help contribute towards what makes him so special.
God, I hope so.
Eris looks at like the concern that Don's showing for Chip, and he looks back and he says, is there a way we can keep Chip from getting frozen up like he did in the alley the other day?
I'll agree to limit my controlling of him. I only do that whenever I feel that our safety is compromised, but I can't promise that I won't do that in a situation. If you were all getting captured and dying, I may control him to try to help him get out of there, but that's as far as I'm willing to go when it comes to that. If I lock him up in the middle of a fight, I don't think I'll be able to retrieve him.
You won't be able to control us, will you?
No, I'll make sure that you understand. I only can control him through his race augment. The actual tracking device only shows me his location when I retrack it through the back end that I do, but I won't install that on yours because if you have Chip with you, I could technically find you at any point if I ever needed to anyway.
Well, I appreciate your lack of interference for once.
Like I said, if there's no money in it, and it doesn't actually benefit me, then there's no reason to. And now that you understand where I'm coming from, I'm not just in it for money. I'm in it for research and discovery and understanding. But at the end of the day, that costs a lot of money.
Sure does. Sounds a lot like your problem, though. So why don't you show us to the office and let's get these chips in. That is, if you're up for the surgery, Scrat.
Let's do it, gang! Out.
Eris is still
you'll be
kind of
fine.
looking at him to see, is there a way we could do like an insight check just to see how much we trust this guy?
Yeah, if you'd like to determine to see, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to see like how much I trust him.
Can I roll to see how drunk Scrat is?
Oh, you don't even have to roll on that one. He's drunk.
I think I need to start throwing back more, seeing as he's getting pretty excited there. I'm going to grab one of the other bottles and start.
It was a 9.
So you can, as far as you can tell, and everyone can roll an insight just to, because obviously he would be under heavy scrutiny by you guys anyway. As far as you can tell, though, he doesn't seem to be lying about this. He does seem, you can tell, however, he is very passionate when he's talking about his research and ship's race augments. If anything else, if not anything else anyway, you can tell for sure that he is very getting passionate about that. He does seem to be very honest and straightforward when it comes to that. Dawn,
I got a 17.
you're able to kind of like you trust him because he seems very, in an odd way, you kind of get a weird sense of protectionism from him. He does seem to be kind of like wishing to protect his information, and in a weird way you can kind of tell that he's trying to protect Chip.
Well then, come on, Scrat, let's get this done with.
All right, where are these chips at?
I'll try to help balance you out, but I'm starting to rock a little bit too. So between the two of us, we could probably sway over there.
All right, so you guys start heading out, and he kind of references back to what you said a second ago, saying that it wasn't your problem, Superior. And he goes, as you get up, he says, "Well, it's your problem in a way," as he kind of gestures over the Chip, if you're going to be keeping him with you.
Nah, I'm not too worried about that anyhow. I haven't decided yet.
He gives you an eyebrow as he kind of gets up and starts gesturing towards his office. So, is anybody else, as you guys head towards the office, or everyone's getting up, is anyone else going to do anything different besides head that way?
Well,
Try and talk to Varia if she's still against the wall.
And I was going to stay in the kitchen, so just leaning up against the wall, not moving.
I'll kind of go up to her, kind of try and copy her stance against the wall, like trying to look cool. You not gonna go in?
Why would I?
I don't know. Protection? Safety in numbers?
Am I protecting someone, or are you guys going to protect me?
Either way works, I guess. I mean, if we're going through surgery, it would be nice to have someone on the door. And you're very skilled. I mean, I saw you fighting. It was really cool.
Varia has no idea what to say to that at all. So she's just going to stammer for a second. You want me in the room while you're getting this surgery done?
I don't really like doctors.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll be there for you. Just so you know, it's gonna hurt like hell.
And
okay.
At this
She's
point,
like legit tearing up, like.
at this point, the other kind of rest of the family are kind of like walk up to you as you guys are the last in the room, and are kind of just like standing beside you, kind of waiting for you guys to leave.
As I walk out, I'm gonna grab something small off the table and just shove it in my mouth because I haven't actually eaten anything yet.
As one of them's trying to like clean the table, and you like walk over, he like holds it out, and yeah, you do so as he kind of just starts to clean the table and stuff as you guys leave. So everyone shows up to the office, and as you guys walk in, you see a couple like shelves of like looks like hard drives and all these things kind of like lined up against one side of the wall. There's actually a artificial plant in the corner of the room, just kind of sitting there, and he has this nice, elaborate looking desk that has like inlays for Magitech stuff and like all this kind of connections and stuff in the center of the room, with two couches kind of propped up near it, and on one side a kind of a chair, and then in the corner of the room is his bed, and beside his bed is a giant terminal where you can tell that he does most of his work just from the wear on it, and it has like multiple screens and all this kind of stuff of like minor image just constantly being up for him to be able to work with. And he has a chair for this desk, or this kind of like setup, and then there's also another chair near it that actually has like what looks to be kind of like different kind of wiring and stuff like that, of Magitech kind of stuff connected to his operating terminal. And as he goes in, he kind of gestures over towards the desk and the couches and stuff, and walks near the terminal and says, "Well, who's up first?"
Well, slam myself down in the chair. Well, look, I want to get this over with while the booze is still working. So, Scrat, if you don't mind, well, you've been in me before. Make it work.
Oh, yes, I have. All right.
So you sit down and you kind of get up there and start like, taking his armor off and kind of like having it deplate and stuff. And as you do so,
open wide.
You have access to his race augment, and Pock kind of asks you to like. There's kind of like a slot in the part of the chair that Pock asks you to insert, which is pretty standard for the procedures, where you allow her to assist you in your procedures.
Ah, geez, Scrat, you could warm up your hands a little bit first, couldn't you?
So go ahead and make a medicine check with advantage.
He gets advantage for being drunk. That's his normal state.
Excesses. He's actually getting advantage from Pock,
60.
but so double advantage. I'm just kidding. We'll call it Scrat drunkery instead of elven accuracy. So you get you're able to kind of work. It takes a little bit of a while to kind of like make sure it's fine. I will say though, Sir Perior, roll a Constitution saving throw.
Mm-hmm.
This might sting a bit.
That's let's see. Yeah, that's only going to be a 12.
So it doesn't like you don't black out, but you are in some serious pain throughout this process as it goes on. It starts out like every time you think that it's like, oh, that's the pain that I'm waiting for. No, it keeps getting worse, and eventually, after I would say a couple hours of operating Scrat, you finally get to the point where you realize that it is out, and now you have to insert the other one. So while this is all going on during his surgery, you guys are all just chilling in the room, waiting and kind of hanging out. So if you guys would be talking or asking or doing things, let me know.
I'm gonna go over to Dawn because she looks like she's gonna throw up. And
I am like vice gripping Eris's hand and Fluffy's one of Fluffy's legs. So like,
I'm just gonna go over and say, "It's gonna be okay, Dawn. He's tough. He'll get through this, and Scrat's the best, so it'll be okay."
I'm gonna like actually look at what Scrat's doing for like the first time.
I'm gonna put my hand in front of her eyes.
And just be like caught like the smallest glimpse of it, and I'm
Damn it, Scrat, is that even the right port? Ah.
Okay, let's like
You
cut that out. And then once I pull out Perior's old thing, I'm gonna say, hey Don, you want a souvenir? Catch.
I kind of catch it. Is it gory or is it like pretty clean?
There's some like, there would be like this weird like, almost like an oil, a thick viscous like mixed with like some clear like stuff all over it with like, and there's like blood mixed in with it a little bit.
I'm
Surely we need to destroy that, right? So they don't trace it.
As long as you fry those electronics, you can keep it.
I'm gonna.
She pulls out a tinker's kit.
I'm gonna put my hand out, and my tattoos are gonna glow on my hand, and then you're gonna see this purple hand kind of separate from it, and I'm gonna go pick it up for Dawn, and have the mage hand hold it so she can work on it without having to touch all the bloody gory stuff.
Thank you, Chip.
You're welcome. I figured that'd help a little bit.
Mm-hmm. She's like, she kind of like gets kind of color back in her face when she starts like focusing on something. And after a while, she seems pretty chill.
So, Sir Perior, you hear Puck because she's connected into you. So every once in a while, you'll hear her talk, like helping Scrat out with like certain stuff. And then after he removes that and that all happens, he's starting to insert the next one, and you hear Puck go, "No, not that hole. No, not again. Not."
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on, Scrat. You've done this a million times before, haven't you? Jesus, I didn't think it hurt that much.
And as it kind of snaps into place, the pain kind of dulls a little bit. And Scrat, you can tell that it is kind of, for the most part, it's good. You just need to, he just needs some time for it to kind of like, he's going to be basically exhausted. 2 levels of exhaustion until he gets some time to rest.
All right. Now you're gonna feel a bit lethargic for a little while. You just need a little rest. You should be good.
Well, gee, you think?
Stay hydrated and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Scrat. I know I can always trust you to fix things up when they're broken. And I'll haul myself out of the chair so the next person can get in.
I've seen a lot of those, Sir Perry. You did a really good job. You didn't even scream.
Well, when you get
you're a
through
very
the
good
mechs, it's not so bad.
Is screaming normal?
I'm going to say, oh, that reminds me. And I'm going to take out a bottle of liquor and hand it over to Sir Perior. I found this and I thought you might like it.
Oh, well. And thanks, Chip. Now, Don, this is going to be rough for you. You got a piece of leather, I recommend you bite down on. It'll at least help. If you want a swig of this, you can have it.
She seems hesitant, but after he drinks out of it, she's like, okay.
Dawn, have you ever drank alcohol before?
I think I've had it like a handful of times with Eris.
Okay.
But that's been it. Like, she's not an avid drinker.
Okay.
It did not go well.
Did not go well, no.
So Bluprint's gonna gesture and say, all right, who's next?
Down to the doctor's office. Down to the doctor's office.
I'll get it over with, I guess. And then
I'll be right there with you, Don. Me and Fluffy will make sure you'll be all right.
Okay. And if it gets really horrible, like back when I had that really bad toothache, just knock me out again, okay?
Okay.
He
crosses his fingers behind his back, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Very is going to send a message to Dawn. I know I said that this was going to hurt, and I wasn't lying. This is going to hurt a lot. But just keep in mind that We're terrorists now. And if Prometheus finds us, they will hurt us more than this ever will hurt. So this is practice.
Okay.
I love how
Aren't
practice
you a
like
ray of sunshine in an otherwise dark world?
practice like assumes that it can still happen though. We're getting ready for it. Oh, man.
That's Varia's idea of a pep talk, but
Her charisma is very just intimidation, and she's pretty.
So as you kind of work your way over there, Cypher has been kind of chilling in the like corner of the door, like just waiting, like listening in, and he walks up and kind of just leans against the wall and just casually watches as this all unfolds. And Dawn, do you sit in the chair, or okay? Okay. All right. So Scrat, go ahead and make a as you start to get started, you get her clothes opened up to where you can see the race augment kind of in the inner chest, and
Oh my.
Now, just before he starts getting the operation started, I'm going to tell her, don't worry, Don. You're going to get through this just like a champ. Remember, you can fight as hard as you want, but only you can change your destiny.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Pock
and you
is
can
gonna
see she's holding your previous razor.
Pock is gonna play an audio clip from the audience cheering in the dome from whenever, like, that you would recognize. And
oh, that's so annoying. Eris has his hand over his eyes because he's trying not to see anything. He's like, ugh, play something else, please.
I'm gonna go over to Eris and Eris, you work at the Clash Arena, right?
Kind of.
Can you tell me about Clash?
I will
I've
kick
heard of it,
you
but I
in
never...
the shin.
Is that like what they say before they start the fight or something?
Please don't.
Or is that what they say when they end the fight?
Please don't.
Kind of like we say uncle around here.
Stop it.
Weird because we don't have uncles, but you're not gonna tell me about Clash? You work there, right? I've never seen a Clash.
Thank you so much.
So at this point, Pock is gonna listen to your request, and she's gonna start playing a song that you guys would recognize just casually. Why is this? Oh, there we go. 1 second. And
You have insurance, right, Don?
okay.
I think it was a part of my job, but I don't think I work there anymore.
We'll worry about that later.
But when I wake up, I can talk to Chip about Clash, right? I will wake up, right? She's like waiting.
When I woke up in heaven.
Okay.
That might happen.
So as he gets started, Scrat, go ahead and make your medicine check with the.
Please don't fail, please.
That's an advantage, right?
Yep.
Varia responds to Dawn to her question of I will wake up with I woke up, I was only 12. You'll be fine.
Dawn's still awake, right?
Yes.
I think so.
Like while the whole process is happening?
Scrat, what was your roll?
Let's see. That's a dirty 20.
Okay.
Okay. So
So as the procedure starts, Eris is gonna look at Chip and realize like what he's trying to do, and Eris is gonna say like the 3 things he knows about Clash, and try to like engage Dawn in the conversation, and then he's gonna have one hand covering his eyes and the other one's gonna like plug his ears as soon as Dawn like launches into her monologue about it.
So Dawn, go ahead and roll a con save.
Okay. Okay.
That didn't sound like a good okay.
That's a 6.
So as they're kind of like trying to make you feel better and stuff, you stop being able to hear what anyone's saying, and you actually are going to be wavering in and out of consciousness throughout the process.
Okay.
So you guys can all visually see that she's like going in and out of consciousness as this is happening. But Pock reassures that it's kind of, she's just not handling the pain well. It's not that anything's going wrong.
And my favorite files.
She's me all right, Scrat?
Don't worry, Eris. Your girlfriend's fine.
She's not my girlfriend.
I'm gonna float
well,
the mage.
Either way. Oh, Chip, go ahead.
I'm gonna float the mage hand over to help support her head. And she's like flopping around.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Scrat's done this so many times. She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
So after a while, it takes a couple hours, and during this time, Varia, where are you at in the room?
As close to the door as I can get.
Okay. So on the other side of the door is Cypher, and as you're standing there, like watching everything going on, you see a paper plane fly out from your vision and kind of like around, and it lands at your feet. And when you look around, you're going to notice that Cypher's now. You see like just a little bit of shadow movement. And then so you can probably tell that you knew he was there before, but now he's gone.
I'm gonna look down at the plane.
Inside on the wings of the plane, you can see that there's like something drawn. Like there's, basically you can tell that there's something in it on the paper. Like
writing or like stuff inside of there.
Something like a visual. It looks like something. You can't tell if it's.
Okay. I'm gonna move my foot forward and drag the plane back, and I'm gonna wait like 5 minutes before I pick it up.
Okay. Nothing. During that time, nothing happens, and everything else is kind of going on. Scrat's working on Dawn.
And then I will lean down and pick up that paper plane.
Okay.
After I've waited those 5 minutes.
All right, so you pick it up and you kind of give it just looking at it, it seems that something has been drawn on the inside.
Okay. So I'm going to open up the plane. I'm trying to hide what I'm doing from everybody else in the room.
Okay. Whenever you look at it, you'll see what looks to be atop there is kind of like a weird like symbol, but that you don't really recognize. It looks kind of like an hourglass with some kind of like star behind it or something like that. But like the main part of what's on the paper is actually a drawing with colorized of it. It is you holding your rapier, fighting with it. And at the bottom, it says, "I tried your style. Maybe you should read sometime."
Can I see Cypher in the room?
He's gone.
On a scale of 1 to Varia, how amazing is this picture?
Surprisingly, it's like...
Very amazing.
There you go. It's let's put it this way. It's something that you think that you would probably actually see in a it's good enough to be something that could be sold if that says anything.
I'm gonna take the picture, fold it back into the paper airplane that it was folded into, and place it into my bag.
Okay. So after a while, Scrat, Pock is like helping you out with that stuff, and you eventually get to a point after a couple hours where you know that everything's going pretty well. You've already removed the piece, and you're now replacing it, and everything seems to be going well. So you get it, and after some time, you eventually are able to kind of wake her back up however you would like to do so, because the operation is done.
We are all done. How you feeling, Don? Oh, wake up.
Am I awake?
Yep.
Like the whole time drifting in and out of consciousness, she was pretty much saying about how much she loves Sir Perior and how he's like a hero, and like she's like, and he did this really cool. Hey. I'm exhausted, right, when I wake up?
Yeah, you have 2 levels of exhaustion.
Okay.
So you're like really tired. You're like really feeling it.
Now, when she wakes up, I'd like to be next to the chair and I offer her a hand to get up, and I'll say, "See, I told you it wasn't so bad. You made it through just like a champ."
She just kind of turns to Eris like, I don't know if this is the best or the worst day of my life.
Probably a little bit of both.
She'll probably just slump on a nearby bed.
Hey, Pog, play whatever they play when they win that Clash robot thing.
She says on it, and
Chip's gonna go over to Don and go, "Welcome to heaven, bud."
That's not funny.
And you just hear an announcer over the recording, because all she could pull up was like archival stuff, and they like announce a win for Sir Perior wins the battle or something like that, and then
Hey,
and then
ain't heard that one in a while, have you, Perry?
Yeah, I guess it's been a while, hasn't it? Well, jeez. Well, turn that off. I don't need to hear that anymore.
and she stops it.
Varia's going to walk over to Dawn and kind of like clap her on the shoulder. I knew you could do it.
Thank you. I think I'm gonna sleep. I feel very stressed. I just think I need to go to bed. She's like trying to keep her eyes open. She's like, I just feel like I need to sleep.
All right, so Bluprint's been kind of like working on random stuff during all this, and he's going to kind of like notion over and say that you better get a move on to Scrat.
All right. What do you say, Eris?
Yeah, I just had a thought. Who's gonna de-chip you?
Well,
I figured I could do me.
You do all the reaching inside stuff?
You do you, bro.
well, hell, he's got that POC thing. Maybe that thing will help him.
Think it'd be safer if...
Yeah, you can help me do me, right, Poc?
I wouldn't prefer you to say it like that, but yes, we can, maybe with assistance of one other person, make sure that you are unable to go unconscious.
I'll help.
Okay, yeah, that would probably be best. Maybe Chip can be your hands and Pock can be your eyes. Eris is gonna sit in the chair after he says that and squeeze real hard until his knuckles turn white. And he's gonna take the leather band that he has around his head and put it in his mouth. He's like, "All right, let's get this over with."
All right, Scrat, go ahead and make your roll.
Ooh, that's a nat 20.
Nice.
Hell yeah!
You
don't feel a thing.
Make a con save with advantage.
Just in and out, 5 minutes, in and out.
Con save. Where is it? Push the button. Did I do it? Yeah. 20.
Okay, so because of Scrat working, so this is his third go around today. He's ready. He's like on top of his game, and he is able to do it pretty quickly. Probably in like 3 hours, and comparative to like the other ones, probably took about 5 apiece. He gets in, starts working on everything, and you feel pain, like it hurts a damn bit, but at the same time, like you're able to kind of like push through it and stay awake the whole time. You don't really ever feel like you're gonna pass out or anything like that. And he gets to where he removes it and starts working on the other part of putting in this new chip. And at this point, Bluprint is kind of like approaching the group and kind of being like, all right, I just wanted to show you guys so that way we can develop some kind of trust here. If you look at this, and he tosses it over to whoever's actually looking at him at the time, you can look for yourself and see that I'm not tracking you.
Is this really the best time for this?
He says, well, at least there's already 2 in there, so if there's some kind of messing with it, I've been here with you the whole time. I would have had to be, you know.
Why don't you have Varia? Why don't you have Varia take a look?
Varia will walk over and grab the thing and look at it, kind of play around with it, trying to see if I can see them at all.
You can tell from like looking at it for a little bit that there is a kind of like a marker on it. It's a purple marker that you can tell, like when moving it around and kind of like looking at it, you can tell that it is chip. But other than that, there seems to be no other kind of input coming in.
I'm going to hand the piece back to Bluprint, and then I'm going to reach into my bag, and I'm going to grab a small chip type thing and hand it to him and say, these are access codes for that account for the money to do that job.
And he's going to look at you, pocket it, and say, I'll have Chip contact you when I figure out an estimation on it.
Hey, Scrat. Didn't you say that the chips don't even work down here? Ow! So how would you see them on the thing?
Just try not to talk. All right.
Sorry.
It's.
Besides, aren't we in the same bunker with what he's tracking us with?
Yeah, that's how it works, Sir Perior. It's a good observation.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like, upon hearing this, he kind of just answers and says, well, the normal tracking systems that they use, I don't really do it the same way. Mine are internal, while theirs are based off of data that's being sent out. Mine are actually tracking the device. Theirs track signals that are sent out by the device, if that makes any sense.
Sounds like magic to me.
That it is.
Okay.
And at this point, Scrat, you're finishing up Eris, and you hear the clicking Eris inside your chest as it locks into place, and the pain stops for a decent bit, and you only take 1 point of exhaustion.
All right, thanks, Scrat. I'm gonna go take a nap. Good luck. Good luck doing yourself.
All right.
At this point, Sir Perior, you would have been able to sleep for the 6 hours necessary for you to get that long rest. So all your exhaustion gets taken down to 1 point, because I believe it. Yeah, that's same thing with, I think, who was second was Dawn. So this would be roughly, you still would be sleeping that one of those points of exhaustion off. So you are able to help him out during this procedure. Pock kind of recommends that Scrat, that you get a little bit more intoxicated. Surprisingly, this might be the first time she's ever recommended this.
All right, Puck. I was gonna wait until after all the surgeries to give him his, but here you go, Scrat. This is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for saving me. I really appreciate it.
I'm gonna walk over to Scrat, touch him on the shoulder, and the dark blue of my tattoos turns bright white, and leaves like a glowing imprint where I touched him, and I cast guidance on him. It usually helps me when I do this, so maybe this will help you too.
Oh, sure. Thanks. What is this? What's happening to me?
I don't know. It just usually is helpful.
Oh, okay.
So Scrat, make a. So you're going to make a medical check with no advantage, just straight this time.
17 and then plus.
So Chip and Perrier are going to be helping you out, like by moving, handing you stuff, and helping put things where you and Pock say they need to go exactly as much as possible, while you kind of do most of the inner workings.
Okay, and that's a 19.
All right, so you're able to kind of do this one pretty well. This isn't the first time you've done yourself, so you're used to it. To a
He's
point.
somewhat of an expert at doing himself, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm used to being inside myself. Don't worry.
Pock helps you kind of get through most of it, and with most of what you can tell, it takes a little bit of time. I would say it probably takes about roughly the same amount of time it took you with Eris, maybe just a tiny bit longer, but you get to a point where you take the chip out, and whenever that happens, I do need to make a con save.
Oh boy.
Oh no! I don't have roll 20 open. Oh god.
Did you?
That one?
Oof. Well,
That's not good.
so luckily I am not the kind of DM to make that critical failure on checks and saves, but if it was a roll to hit, it would have been. So it is a one. So you basically, what happens is you're going to go unconscious, and Pock is going to immediately start freaking out, saying that if you guys don't get that in soon, it will cause him severe damage. So,
Pock, this I'm gonna reveal my my mechanical arm. I'm gonna pull the cloak over. This thing's pretty accurate. Do you think you can maybe control it?
She supposes that she could.
Okay. I think I remember what you look like. So I'm gonna grab the disc, and then I'm gonna insert it in my arm.
So you insert it, and whenever you do so, she basically is casting something, and you're willing, so she kind of starts controlling the movements of your arm.
Just don't deploy the sword.
And as you do
That
so,
would be
the
bad.
sword shoots out for a second. Oh, that's what that does.
Yeah, that's the button. Don't press that one.
She kind of gets all the right stuff out. She grabs the tools that are needed, and she starts kind of fiddling with it and asking Sir Perior to kind of hold things in a certain way. So I'm going to need Chip. I'm going to actually have you roll this for her as you, which is kind of weird to say, your arm. So you're going to roll a medicine check with with advantage for Sir Perior helping out.
Okay. Medicine, you say?
Yes.
That's a nat 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got there.
So you were with Pock's help in controlling your arm, and you're kind of like, able to move your body to get her in the right place and everything, and give her the right range of movement. You're able to see and whatever she can't do, she's asking you to what your arm can do and can't do the whole time to see what will be useful in any situation. And within about 5 to 6 minutes, she's able to get the chip inserted and him stabilized to a point where he's slightly conscious. So Pock tries waking you up, Scrat, by yelling at you.
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey, you blacked out there a little bit, buddy. Welcome to heaven.
Oh, yeah, I think you pulled that out a little weird, but
That's what you say when people wake up, right? Or is that just...
Yeah. Oh, am I actually in heaven?
No,
Am I awake
Strat.
from-
No, I thought it was a turn of phrase. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Even if you were, I sure as hell wouldn't be there with you.
Yeah.
So as you guys kind of see him wake up and stuff, the blueprint says, well, that's the last of that. Let's go ahead and get this dealt with. And he points down to the ground where kind of like a mess has been made over all the blood and other kind of stuff, fluids that have been coming from the tools and stuff on the ground. And basically as he kind of says this, a slit in the wall opens up near the floor, and a small Magitech device comes out of it and starts hovering towards the mess.
Is it a knife Roomba?
It's not exactly a Roomba. It's close. Instead of being round, it's square, and it just hovers above it, and you can see it starting to clean it up. And as it gets done, Bluprint goes, "That'll be all, Randall." And Randall goes back under the into the slit in the wall.
What about me, Father?
Well, you don't need it.
Well, I asked what I was going to get, and you said we'd talk about it later. So I figured...
Well, I thought I already discussed this, but I guess you didn't realize is me letting you join them and going out with them is kind of my gift to you.
See, isn't it great that you have such a generous father, Chip?
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Well, would you rather stay here?
No.
I mean,
Thank
because
you.
we can arrange. I would sure like to do more tests on you, if we.
Never mind. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
As all of the surgeries had been happening, Varia has a sketchbook, and she one by one was sketching each of her companions, as well as a sketch of Cypher.
Mm-hmm.
So just it's page after page of sketches of everybody.
Hey, Barry, what are you drawing?
People, you guys, everybody.
Can I take a look?
Sure. and she opens the page up to the sketch of Chip.
Hey, it's me. It's pretty cool. And look, I'm doing surgery. I like it.
Yep. That's what I do.
What's that on the next page? And I kind of just like grab a page and turn the page.
You're turning to the page after the page of you doing the surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been the sketch of Cypher would have been the last one.
Why are you drawing Cypher?
I draw what I see.
What does he see? What is the picture of?
It's a picture of Cypher fighting yesterday, like what I remember of Cypher fighting from yesterday. Like right before he put his book down. So like the anger on his face and his like magic around his hands.
I know Cypher pretty well. I don't think his muscles are that big. I think you might be indulging a little bit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I draw what I see.
Oh, well, I'm sure you are. You know, sometimes the eye sees what the mind sees and the heart sees, and you know,
what are
I'm
you
sure
even
that's true.
talking about, Chip?
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, sometimes you see what you want to see, you know? Mind plays tricks on you and
No, I see the truth. And I draw the truth.
okay. Whatever you say.
I'm gonna rip the page of Cypher out. And before I drop it on the ground, I'm just gonna drop it right in the middle of this room. I'm gonna write a picture's worth 1,000 words on it and just drop it, and then I'm gonna walk out.
And as you do this, Chip, can you make a strength saving throw?
Yes. Yes, I can. It's not great. It's gonna
So
it's gonna be that's a 7, by the way, just in case.
As she like is ripping, as like you end this conversation and she's like ripping this out, a force of air kind of sweeps your legs out from under you and you get knocked prone on the ground. And you would recognize this from many years of this happening to you as Cypher doing this to you.
Huh. Cypher? Well, what was that for? Where are you?
You just hear a chuckle coming from the a shadow like in the corner of the room.
Sorry for making fun of your girlfriend.
His chuckling stops and
Have I left by the time he says that?
Yeah, you would have walked out like by the time you got
Okay.
up and said that, I imagine. If you were leaving, yeah. All right, so that being said, you guys all are good to go. As you start, Bluprint kind of like gestures for you guys to leave his freaking office because you've been in there for like a long time, like most of a day. And as you, I mean, you can, if there's anything else you guys want to do before you leave, let me know. If not, all right. So you guys start heading out, and as you do so, Bluprint's gonna stop Chip as you're walking out, and he's gonna say,
Sorry, just really quick.
"Yeah, go ahead."
Before we would have left, I would have just grabbed Chip before we left and just said, aren't you curious about your memories?
I mean, kind of. But he said there's nothing there. So
There's bound to be stuff there. He just might not deem it important.
I guess I never really thought of that. Just kind of looked forward, you know?
And then as you leave after that discussion, he kind of places his hand on your shoulder and stops you as you kind of walk out. And he says, "So if you wanted one thing before you go, what would it be?"
I mean, maybe an upgrade to help with the fighting, if you have one.
You think I already didn't give you as many of those as I could, boy?
That's true. I mean, is there any way you could take out the controls so like maybe you can see where I am, or just communicate with me but not take control of my entire body?
I promise I won't do it if I don't need to, but I can't promise you that there might not be a situation where you absolutely need help. What if you go unconscious or something?
Then I'll have my friends with me.
And what if they fail you at some point?
Well, that's just gonna have to be what happens then. I'd rather trust in my friends than try to have some artificial way to get out of a situation. I just feel like it's the right thing to do.
Roll persuasion with advantage.
It's an 11.
Okay. He says,
Look, go out there and prove me wrong, but I don't trust them just yet. I'll trust them to be there for you, but I can't 100% say that you might not find yourself in a bad situation. So you come back here after you prove me wrong, and I'll help you out with that. But is there anything else you want, then?
I don't know. What do you have, I guess? What do you think would help?
He says, well, I heard you talking to that girl. I was thinking about giving you a weapon or something like that that might help you, but, do you want me to give you your memories?
I don't know. That's a whole lot to process.
I mean, yes, it would take a couple days to do so, yeah.
I didn't mean literally.
Oh, sorry, of course.
But that too, I guess. How about just a upgrade on the shield then, instead of a weapon or something?
All right. Just whenever you guys actually head out, just come meet me in the armory, and I'll have it ready by the time you leave.
Okay. I'm going to detach the shield bracer and hand it over to him.
and he grabs it and starts looking at it, and you can tell he's like deep in thought as he kind of walks away and towards the armory. As you guys head out to the conference room, he's gonna stop, and kind of all of you kind of are gathered in there, and he's gonna say, now before you all go out and do whatever you're gonna do, I want to go ahead and give you what I know that might be some good leads. I know, as you previously brought up, there are some organizations around the city as possible places to get me a job. I don't know where or who to contact for every single one of them, but maybe knowing what they are, that they are there in the first place, might give you some starting place. And he looks around, kind of seeing your reactions. Do you already know anything about any groups that may be good for this kind of situation?
Well, like I told you before, whoever Riker was working with, those, what they call them, the Awakening, something like that.
Yeah, the Awakening wouldn't be a bad one. But, I will say I don't have a lot of information on them. But I don't know if they'll exactly easily accept me as someone to do stuff for them. They are very, as far as I know, very against her and Prometheus, and the fact that I even worked for them in the past might rub them the wrong way.
Oh, gee, I couldn't imagine why.
If you can get it to work, I'll accept that, but if that's all you know, then...
What about the people who you know, and she kind of like leans in, like, got you guys to do the thing to Superior. If you work with them, because you have before, but instead of actually working with them, maybe we can take them down, and then you can get all the money or whatever that you want from them afterwards. I don't know what you want, but
Well, that sounds like a good idea. I'd much rather have a steady source of work, if you understand. Now, if you happen to go in there and you need some information, and he looks at Chip, I'm sure we could figure something out if that's going to be the arrangement, but I can't necessarily throw you in there with my chip and expect you to take down a whole organization backed by Prometheus. But if it happens, it happens. And he turns and he says, but what I do know, and I can't give you any light on, is there's a group that has been in contact with random other individuals that I've heard of, and they go by the name of Equilibrium. They have some weird concept of balance or something. I don't even know, honestly, but if you find anything about them, maybe they'd be willing to. But that's the only major group I actually know of. I know there might be one more group out there, but there's not been any. They've been pretty silent about their movements, if there is one actually there. Now, I do know, well, you bring up the good point about Clash and Burn being a good option. I wouldn't necessarily say that would be a good option, but if that happens, just let me know. On the other side of things, there's two other small groups that I know of in this city that might be of your interest. I don't know if any of you know of the notorious Lady Luck, but she is the head of a group named the Snake Eyes. She works out in the Hourglass District. She runs rings for different kind of gamblings and such, underground. We're talking black market stuff, dangerous stuff. Now, if you happen to get in contact with her and she wants to set something up, that would be great. It's right up my alley, actually. But on the other side of things, there's a group called the Wreckers, which is an underground mech fighting group. They run off in the Enclave District. They actually control most of that area. So, be careful if you head that way.
So the Wreckers, like, they fight mechs underground?
Yeah, as you all have heard or know yourselves, most of the mech fighting is constrained to just the dome, just the stadiums. But there are those who run underground illegal rings, some places in the city, and the one I do know of is that one.
Would we have to, like, have a mech to fight?
I'm not exactly sure, but they might be able to, if you can talk to somebody, they might be able to need parts or need other kind of things going on that are black market, because it is a legal ring.
Well, I might be able to get us in with them a little bit. If nothing else, this face still has some recognition left in it. That might be some place for us to start, unless one of you thinks there's a better way to go.
Varia's going to inch slightly forward. If I can get in contact with my friend Tess, I could probably get us an audience with Lady Luck.
Yeah, I'm on Varia's team, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I love gambling. I say we go find Lady Luck. That sounds like fun.
Well, that's well noted. You can certainly try to get a hold of her.
Gamble again.
I mean, I would love to see some mechs. I've always wanted to see mechs.
There's nothing quite like him, Chip. Nothing quite like him at all.
What do you think, Dawn?
I mean, I'm quite biased to mix, and I'd rather Eris not gamble anymore.
Come on, I didn't lose that much last time.
You bet my stuff.
It wasn't not a lot of stuff.
Barry is going to turn to Bluprint. You said you know a little of Awakening. Do you know where their base of operations is?
Now that is some privy information that I do not have. If I did, honestly, I don't even know if I'd be able to live here anymore.
Well, in that case, do you have any leads at all? Anybody we should talk to? Any place we should go?
Well, I gave you the 2 districts that those 2 smaller organizations are centered around, so if you have no luck with that, I'll have Cypher check out and see if I can find any leads about Equilibrium or the Awakening, but I'm not exactly sure if I'll be able to find anything.
Do you have any way of delivering a message to Trisha Vanguard?
Trisha Vanguard? Why do you bring her up?
Let's just say I'm a big fan of hers.
If you want, I can write up a letter that only she can read what you mean, and everyone else would see something different.
A big name like that, I think we could work something out. Chip, write up what she wants, and I'll get it to her within the week.
All right.
I'm gonna go over to Chip, and I'm gonna write down what I want to send in the message. And say, Chip, can you just trace over and copy this exactly?
Yeah, no problem. And I hold up my arm, and this like hologram of a blank sheet essentially comes up, and I have a pen, and I write on it in air, and then it like materializes, and I pick up the paper and hand it to her.
Okay. So I'm gonna write on the thing, I saw you at the party. I saw you in the alley. When will I see you again?
All right. I assume that Bluprint wouldn't be able to read this because, Chip, you're writing it to only her?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, yeah, after you get done with that, he offers to take it from you. He takes it. He kind of reads it. Chip, what are you having it say to everyone else?
That's up to Varia. Whatever she wanted to say to everyone else.
It looks like a shopping list to everyone else.
Okay. So with that, he takes it and he kind of pockets it or puts it on his desk and kind of notions, or excuse me, he puts it on like a little stand near the table in the conference room, and then he kind of says, "You all can leave whenever you like. I'm okay with you all resting up after the procedure and getting to the top of your game before you head out, but I will say I'll give you a little incentive. Whenever you guys head out, I already need to give Chip something, so meet me in the armory and I'll give you a little goodbye gift."
I have one question for you before all that. I know you're willing to let us use your facility here to rest up a bit. I don't suppose it'd be possible to use that fancy training device that you have. And, well, it's been a long time since I've been a mech, that's all.
Oh, you're interested in using it for mech training?
Yeah, it might be nice. It's been a long while.
All right. Yeah, while you guys rest up, I'll let you do that.
And I'll head to the quarters and rest up.
Now, I will ask you, though, is there any, I know most trainings for mechs are randomized, but I can actually, on my end, since mine's of my own design, make it specific. So is there anything you'd like it to be?
Yeah. Tell me, did you happen to catch the last mech fight, one with Riker?
No, I don't really watch myself.
Well, if you can pull up the data on his opponent, I'd like to face him again. Prove that it was just those damn faulty parts.
Well, why don't I just go ahead and set up the match that you had, then?
Yeah, well, I guess that'd do it too, but I'd like to see their new tech. I'd like to try it out against their current mech.
Well, I'll see what kind of data I can pull up. And he walks off and kind of goes to his office for a little bit. And that leaves all you guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd like to. If for no one else, then for myself. That way we can finally lay it to rest.
If you don't mind, I'd like to be there for it. At least I could cheer you on, right?
Sure. I guess it's no different than any of the other fights I've been in. People have always watched. Just, just watch. I'll show you.
I haven't got anything better to do. I'll join you two.
Well, I'll be there for you, Mr. Perior. We got your back this time.
I'll go, but I'm not sitting next to Dawn.
Oh, come on, but I can finally show you what makes him so cool.
Nope.
Don, I want to learn about Clash. You can talk to me about it.
Okay.
All right. As he walks off, Cypher actually walks up at this point and talks to the group and says, well, you know, we all can watch from the just right here. And he points up to there's a giant screen up behind the on the very end of the room. So if you don't mind, it would be nice to observe and learn some of your moves from the famous mech fighter himself.
Yeah, if you think you can learn something from it, I don't mind. Go ahead and take a look. Wouldn't be the first time I was made a spectacle of.
Well, to be fair, it's not as fun when you're fighting against a non-manned AI, so would you like one of your friends or perhaps myself to be your opponent?
Well, put it up to them. It's not my choice.
Well, I wouldn't know what I was doing, so
Fuck that. I ain't doing that.
Eris, I know you love Clash so much.
I won't have to listen to Dawn talk about Sir Paris's awesome move the whole time. Sir Perior's, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing, Sir Perior. I'll be honest with you. It might not be much of a challenge.
Cypher kind of chimes in and says, well, you don't have to worry. Most of the systems will take care of themselves from the data, but it will be nice for you to make some off-the-cuff improvisations to the data yourself, so that way it feels more lifelike.
Dawn, are you sure you don't want to do this? This sounds like something exactly that you'd be into.
I'm gonna message Dawn.
At this point.
I'm gonna message Dawn and be like, I think this is the opportunity to get him into Clash. We can watch from inside the simulation. I can get you front row seats. What do you think?
So she has the so you have the option of fighting and possibly like making a mockery of your greatest person you've ever held esteem, or you could watch it, or like and actually, or you could get to play and actually be. That's Oh, this is such an interesting concept. In the
Dawn has no hair left.
I'm just like pulling it out. I'm like, oh.
I just look over. Calm down, calm down.
Do I need to roll for spontaneous human combustion? Like, uh, and she kind of like grabs Chip like by the shoulders. She's like, but if I was in there, then this could be a once in a lifetime opportunity, and then Eris could go and he could really enjoy it. But then what if he doesn't enjoy it, and then it's a wasted opportunity? And then what if Perry doesn't actually fight him because he doesn't actually know what he's doing? But I would be in there and I would know what I was doing, but I wouldn't make a mockery of him. I wouldn't be able to win, and I'd let him do murder for me. I'd never be able to. She goes on like this for until you stop her. Basically,
the message spell just runs out, and then she starts talking out loud because she can no longer whisper me.
So Sir Perior, you're gonna hear the end of that, like the second half from like basically from her being like, but I don't want to make a mockery of him and like beat him because I like him.
You ain't gonna make no mockery of me. And if you beat me, well, maybe I am getting time to retire properly.
No, isn't it? It's not having you retire. No, I don't mean how you missed the heart of the whole husband.
She's gonna do it.
Calm down,
She's gonna
take a
do
breath.
it. She's gonna do it.
Well, there you have it. Sounds like you'll get a chance to, well, see what it was like back in, back before the accident.
Eris turns to Dawn. He's like, "You're gonna crush this. You know all the moves. You know exactly what he's gonna throw up against you. You can finally be in a clash game."
And then
and clip that.
Eris, you're gonna sit in the front row with me, right? And tell me what's going on.
Who's got the drinks?
Well, I have some left.
Yeah, I'll sit in the front row with you then.
Awesome.
Cypher is actually starting to write stuff in his book. This is the first time all of you have seen him actually write in it, and he seems to be kind of happy with himself as he kind of walks off to the towards the sparring rooms to start get stuff ready. At this point, Bluprint is going to pop his head out and kind of be just peering around at the end of that conversation. Whenever that finishes and he walks off, Dawn, you hear from behind you. Dawn, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Come here. I know you said you were interested in possibly learning some stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he beckons you over to his office. And as you go in, he kind of brings you to the his table where he works on stuff, and he's like, "Now, I don't know if don't know exactly if this is gonna help you out or not, but I can teach you a little bit of what I know just for the general kind of stuff. And I have some backup augments. I know you're a little too tired right now from that operation, but whenever you recover and before you guys leave, I have a spare augment upgrade. I think I might be able to suit your way."
Oh, that sounds awesome. I'm not too great with augments, but I should be able to do something with it.
Well, if you want, I can actually install it on you, but it'll take a little time. Now, have you ever done any work with augments dealing with creation and Magitech work? And you would know that yes, you have.
Yeah.
Well, then this should be right up your alley, because it's just an upgrade, not a core base augment. So if you already have one, then it should only take around 3 or 4 hours to install. I can just give it to you and you can install it later, or we can install it before you head out. It's up to you.
I mean, if you have the time, that'd be great.
Alright, well, I still have to finish up Chip's shield, so I think I heard you're about to fight Sir Perior in the training simulations.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. Well, good luck, and when you get done with that, I'll start the installation process if they're gonna rest for the night.
Okay, thank you.
He kind of starts working more on some other stuff. You can see he has Chip's shield augment, and he's starting to work on it. And while this is happening, Cypher is kind of in the other room working on some stuff. So you guys have a little bit of downtime here for a couple minutes. So after kind of waiting and messing around, Cypher comes back out and states that he's all set up and ready to go, and just needs you guys to get ready and go in there.
And I'd like to see if I can find where Dawn is. I know she went off separately there for a moment.
Dawn would have probably come back by now, I assume.
And I'll just tell her, look, I don't want you to feel any worry about this. You're not going to offend me with anything you do or say. Just understand it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've never really used any of these before, and it would be an honor to get beaten by you. And she kind of bows.
Yeah, well, give yourself some credit. You haven't even stepped in the ring yet. We don't know who's going to win. Never underestimate any opponent. Doesn't matter how unskilled they look.
Then go full out.
I guess you want to lead the way to the chambers. I'll let you get in first.
Okay. I actually don't know the way.
Cypher will lead you guys that way.
Varia's going to pull Cypher aside before he starts leading them away.
Where she is.
If I wanted to get out of the complex and then get back in discreetly, where would I go?
Well, I'm not exactly sure if that is something you want to do alone, but if it has to be done, then I might be able to paint a picture for you.
That's what I'm going to do.
Well,
So,
in that case, while they're watching their fight, I can always record that, but there isn't the option for me to record you while hard at work, so it might be for the best if I accompany you to keep, make sure nothing else, follows you back to our base or anything like that, Wouldn't want that to happen.
I don't recall inviting you along, but if it gets me out and then back in, you can come.
I'll set up some holograms to make it seem like we haven't left.
Perfect.
Are you going to climb out the window too?
And he kind of gets working on that after he sets up. So he sets up the ring. Sir Perior and Dawn, you step into the thing. Everyone else is in the conference room, and the screen's showing kind of like the lights are getting dim, and the screen's kind of expanding to full view where you guys can see kind of the match, the Coliseum that they're going to be fighting in. And as Sir Perior and and Dawn, you guys go into the simulation. You find yourself rising inside your mechs, and as you guys rise up through the thing, you see the top open up, and dust starts falling down on your cockpits and stuff, and you're come up to the top, and now you're in the Coliseum ready to fight. And the announcer starts going, and he counts down, and everything starts getting ready. Your mechs start charging up fully, and now you're able to access them. And as the fight's starting, Varia, Cypher takes you, and you both slip out into the city, unbeknownst to the rest of the group, or unbeknown to the rest of the group.
Eris, you ready to go? I'm gonna get us front row seats.
Yeah, let's go, buddy. I'll grab the snacks.
Just step right here. So we're gonna teleport into the front row, and I'm gonna be tell him, hey, I made you something. I hope you like it. And I'm gonna give him a hat. And on the sides there are 2 bottles of liquor, and then there's like straws that go in. Like, I'm not the best programmer, but you said you wanted to drink, and I'm gonna kind of put it on his head. Like, that way you can drink and have your hands free to cheer.
I love the idea of Scrat coming around the corner with like popcorn and be like, where did they go?
So you guys all are in the Coliseum watching and stuff, and the mechs have pulled up to the top, and they're getting ready. The countdown starts going, and the announcer yells the clash terms, and the fight starts, and that is where we're going to end tonight.
No.